Okay.
We will open the April 23rd, 2013 meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board. And I need to announce that we are recording it here for the minutes and also taping it for LCAT, and ask if anyone else is taping the meeting. Hearing none, we'll proceed. The first item of business is to reorganize the board. Do I have a motion to reorganize by nominating Michael Carabetta for chair? I need a motion, people.
So moved.
Seconded.
Further discussion?
Discombobulated.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. You are now the chair.
Thank you.
And you now need to get a vice chair and a clerk.
All right. Can I get a motion to continue to reorganize the board with a vice chair and a clerk?
Is it your turn to use, right,
Yeah.
Michael? It's your turn? Who's the vice chair?
Well, no one's vice chair right now.
Well, who will be?
I'm up.
I move that I nominate Michael Prisbilowicz for vice chair.
Second.
Chair line.
We've been seconded.
Oh, okay, good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I motion that we make George Kingston clerk.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Board is so
Organized.
rearranged.
Fine.
Okay. First order of business is Patsy LaCory. I think we're going to start with closing the revocation hearing to continue on with the amendment to the special permit. So, if everybody's agreement, can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to the amendment of the special permit.
Okay.
Gentlemen, would like to come before us? State your case.
Okay. So before we move forward, we need a motion.
I'll take a motion to take no action on the revocation hearing.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now move forward.
All right, good evening. My name is Brian Fitzgerald. I'm an attorney with Fitzgerald Attorneys at Law. We have offices right here in East Long Meadow at 46 Center Square. I'm here this evening with Mr. Pasquale LaCory, who is the owner of Patsy's Restaurant, located at 600 North Main Street here in East Long Meadow.
All right, I have to open the hearing.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
He's new to this.
I am new to this. Now you can
You
continue.
want me to read, I have to read the notice? Okay. Yes.
So that's one mistake so far?
Yeah.
We're working on 3, you're out.
It'll be a long night. You sure you want to be here tonight?
The planning board of the town of East Long Meadow will hold a public hearing on April 23rd, 2013 at 6:30 p.m. in the hearing room of the town hall, 60 Center Square, on application for an amendment to a special permit submitted by Patsy's Pizzeria and Restaurant Incorporated to allow the addition of a deck for outdoor dining at 600 North Main Street, said property owned by Pasquale LaCory. For the board, Ralph Page, clerk. We have correspondence from the police department. Okay, basically, yeah, the comments. This report reviews the request filed by Mr. LaCory, owner of Patsy's at 600 North Main Street, regarding expanding his seating on the front deck of the restaurant and marking several parking spaces on Brayburn Road. He is also requesting permission to add a handicap ramp to the deck from the parking lot on east side of the building. A site review was conducted regarding his requests. The issue of the seating and installation of the handicap ramp along the front of the deck is referred to the planning board for review. Please see the previous report, 1333 OF. Brayburn Road is an established public way in the town of East Long Meadow. The road width was measured at 28 feet, where the proposed parking spaces would be placed. The marking of parking spaces would reduce the road width to 19 feet, which is below the established minimum road width of 24 feet for a two-lane road. Additionally, once the spaces are marked, that portion of the roadway is no longer considered part of the travel lane. It is not recommended that the parking spaces be allowed on Brayburn Road. Any questions may be directed to my attention, Sergeant Richard Bates. And we have an email here from Mr. Ben Cody. Hello, Robin. After inspecting the outside elevated structure at Patsy's Pizza, 600 North Main Street, the fire department finds no issues with the elevated structure. I find it meets all state and town fire codes. I'd like to take this time to ask the property owner not to place any type of combustible material around the outside elevated structure for landscaping, for instance, mulch. Please contact me if you have any other questions. Ben Cody, Inspector, East Long Meadow Fire Department. And from the,
Yeah, I don't think we need to have that read in as far as appliance versus,
okay,
yeah,
Fine.
can we discuss that, we'll worry about that?
pass that one by.
Okay. Floor is yours.
Okay. All right.
Tape.
Once again, my name is Brian Fitzgerald. I'm an attorney for the owner of the property Pasquale LaCori, who is here with us this evening. As you may recall, we were first before you back in October of last year. And at that time, there was essentially 3 charges given to Mr. LaCori. One was to obtain a variance for the deck that was built off of the building. The second was to revise his site plan with respect to parking, and the third was to revise the site plan with respect to the outdoor dining. In January, a variance was obtained, and the plan was at that time presented to the board, and there were further revisions that were requested by the board to be made to the plan. And as a result of that, an application for an amendment to the special permit has now been submitted to you with a revised site plan.
Okay.
We have the site plan, and I believe it's this one here. No, that's not this one here. Here are the plans themselves. Okay.
Thank you.
And you'll see there, so there are copies there, and then we also have the site plan here. So as some of you may know, a special permit for the operation of a restaurant here was granted by the board back in 1992. Mr. LaCori has operated the restaurant since that time at this location. So the only real changes essentially to the plan itself were obviously to show the building of the deck off. As you may recall, there was an outdoor patio that was there. That was part of the original site plan submitted back in '92. And I have some pictures here which kind of show, Google Earth pictures, which show what the patio had looked like previously. And then as well as some fairly recent pictures which show the deck as it's built right now.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. LaCori's intention with building the deck was essentially to provide for safety. It was primarily for safety reasons, which would allow for his patrons who are exiting the restaurant from the parking area to be essentially have a better visual going down North Main Street. So as you can see, this picture here shows you here, and I tried to show, well, I didn't have the side here, but at least it shows here in terms of the visual.
Yep.
And it's a better visual than the prior patio that was there that would go out essentially 5 feet from the sidewalk.
Yep.
So, okay. So we show the deck here on the front of the building. It also shows the seating. There'd be an allowance for 6 seats that would be outside for the outdoor dining. Mr. LaCori's plan is that because he's allowed essentially a capacity, I believe, of 60 people, that he essentially would take 6 seats from inside the restaurant to accommodate then for the 6 seats outside of the restaurant.
Okay.
Okay? In addition, the plan shows all of the dimensions of the property, and then as well as it's essentially an as-built plan showing the existing deck, all of the parking spaces that are within here in the property, as well as there's the generator on the property as well that's shown there. And then there was a request to show for an allowable space for the tenant that lives on the 2nd floor of the building. So there's adequate parking there for the tenant. So, Essentially, the parking space then provides for, the required parking is 20 spaces, and I believe in total, we've accounted for 21 spaces.
Yeah, that's the 21 including the ones on the road?
It is including the nine, yeah, so yeah,
It's 17.
21.
Yeah.
All right, which in essence we cannot use, but, all right. All right, okay. Anything else?
And I believe that would be it. In terms of just the findings, I think you find that the location itself, it's an appropriate site for the business use as a restaurant. It's been used as a restaurant for at least the past 20 years. It coincides with the present business environment of the neighborhood. The use as it's presented would not adversely impact the neighborhood as long as it continues in the manner in which it is operated. It will not cause any nuisances, noise, or create any safety hazards, we believe. Okay. With respect to the patio and the outdoor dining, we believe that it's an improvement from what was there before. Essentially, the facility, we believe it adequately has sufficient parking spaces to serve the number of people in the restaurant.
All right.
Okay.
Anything you want to say? All right, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Ralph?
Well, my first thought is the screen fencing around the dumpster. I know it doesn't exist right now, but I know we've discussed it. I know it was in the past special permit that it was going to be screened.
And it's shown on the plan.
And it is shown on the plan. Is there a time frame to have that done?
Peplard has measured it already.
Yep.
So soon as he gives me what the cost of it is, he's going to go for it.
Okay.
And the ramp on the front off of the deck, same basic
Same
idea?
base, yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Anything else?
Not
Simon?
for right now.
I'm good.
No, I have no questions.
Joe? I know I met you out there, we discussed it, I think you guys have met everything, or have done everything we have asked for, so I don't foresee any problems. So, do we need to open this up for a public hearing? All right, at this time, I'm gonna open up for a public hearing, if there's any input. If there is, please state your name and address. Anybody?
Make
Can
a
I-
motion to close public hearing.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to amend the special permit for Patsy's Pizza on North Main Street?
So moved.
Second.
If I could just ask one
Sure.
question, what are you going to do about the parking on Franklin Road?
We're gonna have to omit that as far as the special permit is concerned. You know, based on the recommendations of the police department. So the plan will be, if approved, will be, you know, or go without the 3 parking places. As a matter
But
of record.
that is not currently designated as a no parking zone.
No, it's not. You're right.
So-
In essence, they cannot use it for their plan, but
But people can
park
still
there, correct.
park there.
People can park there, but they just have no control over it, that's why it can't be counted
Right,
towards the
understand
number
that.
of parking
Understand that.
spaces
Fine.
on site.
Fine.
And Mr. LaCory also does have an agreement with Kelly Fredette to be able to allow his
And unfortunately, we can't take that into consideration
Okay.
either because the new properties
Yeah.
are not, so.
Okay,
But
yeah.
we are aware of that. And I did speak with them about that and they still have no problem with it. Unfortunately, we can't recognize that.
Right, yep, no, I
So
understand
we
that,
can
I understand
recognize
that.
this
but we
particular
just-
individual parcel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need a new plan without these parking spaces.
So, yeah, we do need to plan without the parking spaces.
Without the parking
Yeah.
spaces shown,
Yeah, I
okay.
think we can
All right.
approve with the recommendation or the
Yeah.
stipulation that you guys remove those from the final plan.
Okay.
And upon
Alright.
completion of the fence for the
Fence
dumpster.
and the handicap ramp. And do you have a time as far as how long you think it'll take? 30
Uh,
days, 60 days?
Yeah, about 60 days.
All right, so
Okay.
we'll put that in the motion as well.
Okay.
For 60 days to complete the works.
With the,
Okay.
I'm sorry, with the dumpster enclosure?
Enclosure for the dumpster and
And
the
the ramp.
handicap ramp?
And the handicap.
And the handicap ramp for the deck.
Yes. All right. Having a motion made and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good
Thank
luck.
you for your patience and your cooperation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
It was good. Thank you.
That's his copy,
Thank you,
right?
Pat.
Or is our copy?
I think our copies. Yeah, I'll take, if you guys don't want them, I'll take those.
All those back.
Fix them up for us? There you go. Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Quite a bit of time before our next, next hearing, so why don't we start tackling some of these
She's coming in.
administrative / new business issues?
Robin, we're gonna...
We're going to start moving this.
Administrative issues.
Take them one at a time.
I'm gonna move
Yeah,
forward
look
with
right
some
from
of
the
the
top, the
administrative
A&Rs.
issues.
Yeah, let's start at the top and work our way down. We'll start with metal produce and we'll just continue down to our 645.
There you go.
Should be
This
able to get
doesn't
them
have
all
to be
in.
ready. This
Yeah,
is just
metal
a
produce.
reminder to everybody.
This is,
You know,
Yeah, no motion, no.
I'm just gonna give it a continuance
All right,
because
yeah, this first thing is for metal produce, and they came before us. They want to put a store in at 34 Shaker Road, and there's already a special permit that exists on that location.
Correct.
So once one special permit is removed, then we can move forward with the second one.
Has the first one been removed yet or no?
I don't think we have a timeline
no,
on that.
that's not.
So we're more or less just,
There's still-
reiterating the same facts that we've already talked about.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to do
Gotcha.
anything.
Next.
Do we
All right.
just want to
fine.
continue it for the
Yeah.
next meeting?
To the next one.
Perfect.
Do we need a motion?
And do we need to continue it, or do we want to wait to hear from them and then schedule a date? Would that make more sense?
That probably would make more sense.
All right, why don't we leave it open, and if they come in,
Yeah.
then we'll schedule them, and get them in as quick as we can. All right, next up is Deco's Landscaping, 367 Porter Road. I believe we have a letter from Mr. DiClemente.
Dear Robin, from Tim DiClemente, I'm writing in regards to my privacy screening at 367 Porter Road. I'd like to inform everyone involved per our conversation on April 1st, 2013, that I will be placing arborvitaes along the fence line that divides my property from the Brookside Cemetery. This will be completed within the weeks to come to appease all that have set forth with actions for me to do so. This shall resolve the privacy screening aspect of my special permit, in which I have removed some evergreen trees from that side. If you'd like me to come before the board to explain said project, please contact me directly on this matter. Many thanks for your help and patience. And basically, the screening was removed, he's got to replace it.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I did have a conversation with some
Yeah.
trees from storm damage, some trees that died. I know he says he's gonna
Yeah, what was the
correct it.
time frame?
Did he say a time frame?
He did not give a specific time frame, he said as soon as he can.
Okay.
Should we stipulate a time frame?
You can?
I think it would be nice if he could at least get back to us and say, whether it's gonna be 30,
I would suggest
25
we review
days.
it in 60 days.
Yeah,
Good idea.
that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, 60 days.
It's
That's fine.
April.
Plenty.
No,
Yes.
I mean, I'm
Yeah, it's more than-
asking
it's more than
Sandro,
enough.
he's the-
That's,
It's more than enough time.
Yeah, I think that's more than enough time.
Yep,
What it is this season, so.
He'll have it up before then.
You determined there won't be a
No, I
request
don't-
for a revocation?
Nope. Now, if we get a letter to him, basically stating what we've stated, give him 60 days, to get it fixed. So if there's going to be any problems, let us know.
Okay.
And then I'll review it again in 60 days, make sure it's been remedied.
He'll have it up before then.
I would imagine that, so.
yeah,
he's purchasing the shrubs tomorrow, so.
Okay.
good.
All right, I don't think we need to worry about that. Next up, we have an A&R for 3 North Street.
Application for endorsement of a plan believed not to require approval, A&R. The applicant is Mario and Faye Magnani at 3 North Street. The owners are the same. The engineer is Smith Associates. The deed of the property is book 4654, page 85. Number of existing lots, 2. Area of the existing lot or lots, 20,904. Frontage of existing lots or lots, 120. Proposed number of lots, 2. Frontage, minimum frontage proposed lots is 75. Area of proposed lots, parcel A, 10,903.6. Parcel B, 10,000. Required frontage on North Street and Shaw Street. said street being an accepted way. Proposed lot conveyance or other instrument which adds or takes away from, changes the size or shapes of the lots. Okay, so,
Yeah, I think it's pretty basic. The new lot being created meets the criteria. That's residence C, 10,000 square feet, has the minimum frontage, minimum lot coverage. Both parcels will conform.
Whatever.
Are both on an improved right-of-way?
Yes, they are. So do I have a motion to approve the A&R as submitted?
a motion to endorse the A&R.
Endorse the A&R, thank you.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How many signatures to it? Or just mine?
Did she just say just yours?
Yeah, that's what she said.
Okay.
And
It's never wrong.
No, I know. I just did it in here. Just wanted to make sure. Do you need the paper ones signed or something?
Oh, you get my cell
Silver Fox Lane.
All right, next.
Next up,
We have
another A&R for Silver Fox.
Silver Fox Lane, applicants are Carmine Capua at Dwight Street, Long Meadow, Mass. The owner is CMN Builders, 31 Hillcrest Circle, Westfield. The engineer is Mark Shute, 40 School Street, Westfield. The deed is book 19525, page 275. There are two existing lots with an area of 66,232 square feet. The frontage of the existing lots is 370.38. The proposed lots are two. The minimum frontage of the proposed lots is 176.61. The area of the proposed lots is the same, and the required frontage is located on Silver Fox Lane, which is a way endorsed on a subdivision plan.
So this is going to reduce the pavement.
No, not yet. This is an A&R. This is to change lot 3 and 4. No, it's all right.
Okay.
It's the same subdivision?
So there's 4 lots there?
Yes.
Oh, in these two, okay.
But we're just changing the lot lines between 3 and 4.
I believe so.
Which was right here. No.
All right, everything meets the square footage and or frontage.
Yeah. This is Residence A.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have a motion to endorse the A&R as submitted?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
There you go. Here.
Okay. This is for the payment?
Yes.
The East Long Meadow Planning Board from C&M Builders LLC, Ray Silver Fox Lane. Mr. Chairman and board members, C&M Builders LLC is respectively requesting reduction of road pavement width from the original subdivision approvals to a new proposed pavement as submitted on the revised plans. And we have a comment from the Department of Public Works, Ray Silver Fox Lane, roadway reduction from Franklin J. Mirandi, Assistant Town Engineer, in regards to the reduction of width of the roadway from 30 feet to 24 feet. The Department of Public Works has no concerns with this reduction. The catch basin structures and fire hydrant have relocated to accommodate the proposed change. The cul-de-sac remains at the minimum 45-foot radius. The typical section reflects the roadway width change as well. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me in this office.
All right, so what he's looking to do is reduce the pavement width, which is not uncommon, which we've done with other subdivisions.
Correct.
The impervious area becomes less, obviously.
And we usually get a recommendation from the police department in doing so.
They didn't look at this because they haven't changed anything other than the pavement
Yeah, I
width.
think the
Okay.
cul-de-sac.
What about the fire
Cul-de-sac
department?
is the same.
Okay.
Cul-de-sac
Yeah,
is the
cul-de-sac
same.
will remain.
They're happy with 24 feet.
No.
No, no, no.
Only the roadway's changing, the
Right,
cul-de-sac will stay the
right,
same?
the 24
Yeah.
feet roadway.
That has nothing to do with the fire department. They don't care about that. All they care about
Okay.
is the cul-de-sac.
Fine.
Okay. Anybody, any other input from anybody? Okay. Can I,
I make a motion to approve the change in the subdivision plan from 30 feet to 24 feet on the
So
roadway.
moved.
all those in favor?
No, we didn't second.
You
Second.
I thought you did.
You made the
Oh, we did?
motion, you
Okay, I'm sorry.
seconded.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That takes Michael, you,
All three of us?
and George.
Ink, or do we need to fill?
Pardon?
Ink, or do we need to fill?
You need this for the Mylars.
No.
When's the deadline?
Still sign this, right?
Yes.
Should I get a motion to take a 5-minute recess to sign these?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
In the meeting?
Gonna reconvene the meeting, keep moving forward because we've got some time to get through some of the stuff. Next up will be request for waiver of site plan for Business Betty's, 256 Maple Shade Avenue.
The property owner is Suzanne LaRoque, 256 Maple Shade Avenue. The name of the proposed business is Business Betty's. It's Suzanne LaRoque and Allison Biggs at the same address. Proposed hours of operation by appointment only, by phone. Number of employees, including the owner, is 1. Date of last parking plan not applicable. Business consulting. No clients coming to the home office. Computer and phone work. No employees. Business is website and brand development. No commercial vehicles. No product storage. And
That's
I
it.
think that's about all we have here in terms of input.
Okay, go back, number of employees plus the owner, was there 1?
No, it says number of employees including the owner 1, which confuses me because there are 2 people
Right.
Right.
listed for the business.
Are they both at the same address?
I don't know who she is, that second person.
It wouldn't make sense to have them come before us because
Maybe two
Or at
separate,
least get
two
clarity.
separate
It's
areas.
clear.
It's
Yeah.
not consistent.
Yeah.
One's in West Springfield, and one's in East Long Meadow.
I think we,
I can't give you any more information.
according to that, she's saying 2 people go to her house beside, or one other
Yeah,
person
yeah,
besides
that's-
herself.
That's
Yeah.
a
All right,
question.
so we're gonna need some clarity.
Okay.
Under hours of operation by appointment only, I mean, is that,
Me-
she's going off-site on
no, it means
appointments?
they're taking phone and internet orders and working when they feel like it,
All right, why don't,
basically.
I think it would make sense to get her in for some clarity.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Next up is request for a waiver of site plan for Changing Plates Nutrition Consulting.
And the property owner is Terry Didmar, James Biron, and Mary Lynn Jacobs, operating as MTJ Realty. at Attain Therapy and Fitness, 168 Denslow Road. The name of the proposed business is Changing Plates Nutrition Consulting. The owner of the business is Sarah Beth Campanelli, who lives at 115 Wrightsburg Road, Somers, Connecticut. The property address is 168 Denslow Road. Proposed hours of operation are less than 20 hours a week. There's one employee, including the owner. The parking plan is dated 2011. This is an outpatient physical and occupational therapy business. And this is within the Attain building.
Okay.
It's zoned, there's no zoning issues.
Yeah.
Parking, that's all set, taken care of.
Yeah, so they're basically bringing another consultant into the building.
Okay. Anybody have any issues or discussion?
No issues.
All right, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Changing Plates Nutrition Consulting passes for 168 Denslow Road.
Okay.
Next up, we're going to do requests for waiver of site plan for Pioneer Sales Company, 216 Pinehurst Drive.
And this-
And Fountain of Youth, Michael.
I'm sorry, and Fountain of Youth, 216 Pinehurst Drive. The two of these coincide with each other.
Goes together.
Okay. First one is Donald Alex at 216 Pinehurst Drive, Pioneer Sales Company. He is self-employed. His address is 216 Pinehurst Drive. Property address is the same. Proposed hours of operation vary. He's on the road 90% of the time. He is the only employee. No parking plan. He's a consultant for the food and beverage industry. The work is mostly on the road. May do paperwork in his dwelling. And the other one is, again, Donald Alex at the same address, Fountain of Youth, self-employed. And the business here is, again, consultant for the food, beverage, and non-food industry. Work is mostly on the road, but do paperwork in the dwelling. Consultant for beauty and aesthetic trade as well as food. So,
All right, this is basically computer office for two businesses.
right,
He has to use less than 20% of the building.
right.
But it is allowed, and I think it meets
Yeah.
all the necessary criteria.
And
Agreed. It's kind of unusual request. We often don't run into two businesses that want addressed, but as long as he doesn't exceed the 20% rule, I don't see any reason to deny it.
yeah, this is, by the way, I might add, Don Alex used to be at 200 Shaker Road. He had a food distribution business there, and apparently he's now moving into consulting,
Okay,
okay? Working out of his home.
okay.
So,
And the 20% is
For both.
for both.
Correct.
both.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not
Yes.
20% each, it's
No,
for both.
20% for both.
Yes.
Right.
All right, so can I get a motion to approve Pioneer Sales Company at 216 Pinehurst Drive?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
And then Fountain of Youth.
All
Make a motion to approve Fountain of Youth.
Second?
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion also passes. Let's keep going with this.
Okay.
We got a request for waiver of site plan for H&R Black, 418 North Main Street.
Okay, the property owner is Larry Krill, who's the landlord representative, 21 Customs House Street, Suite 450, Boston. The proposed business is H&R Block at 350 Cooley Street, Springfield is the business owner's address. The property address is Heritage Park Plaza, 418 North Main Street. Proposed hours of operation, January 1st through April 16th. Well, that's not hours of operation, but you got 12 employees. They do tax preparation during that time period. This, they're already there, right, Robin? Okay, so they're asking to continue.
No, they're moving. They're in
They're
one
moving.
location, and this is a new location.
In the same Heritage Park.
mhm.
Okay, so they're moving from one store to another.
Where are they currently? Where in the plaza, does anybody know?
I don't know.
They're to the right of Stop and Shop.
Right, stop and shop.
So the
So
park-
by party, around there?
Someplace down there, yeah.
In between,
Okay.
yeah.
And are they staying on the other side, just
I
out of
think so.
curiosity?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, so
I
in
think it's
essence,
a larger area.
they're moving from one location to another. Parking
Yeah.
plan is good, it's zoned. It meets all the
Yes.
requirements.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve H&R Block at 418 North Main Street?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Request for waiver passes?
One more?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Request for waiver of site plan review for Froyo World, 52 Shaker Road.
Do you
Okay.
want to see the plan? The interior?
Probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, the property owner is ABK Realty. The owner's address is 58 South Road, Hamden, Mass. The name of the proposed business is Froyo World. The owner of the business is Kelvin Zhang. The owner's address is 264 Whitney Avenue, Holyoke. The property address is 52 Shaker Road. It's a business district and allowed use. Proposed hours of operation, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. 3 employees, including the owner. The parking plan is on file. They're doing self-serve frozen yogurt, no other food or cooking. And that's basically it.
All right, so this is basically they're buying a product, they're bringing it in, and they're reselling it. They're not doing any cooking on, at the
Correct.
location.
Which unit is this in that building?
It's
Next to
where
the
white,
karate store.
Right.
This is replacing White Rug.
right.
A white rug, not the karate store, but White Rug.
Okay.
All right, and it does predate our parking plan as far as that, so we don't really need that. That's not
Yes.
necessary
Yeah.
as far as the building and
Yeah.
the parking. Anybody have any issues?
I do. I mean, as far as the parking, I know, I have a question actually with regards to parking. I know it's a pre-existing lot. Is it divided up by square footage or anything as far as each unit? And the reason I ask is, I've been there when the martial arts studio has been going on, and I mean, I've seen 30, 40 cars in that parking lot, and now all of a sudden, something with a large turnover ratio, as frozen yogurt would be,
Yep.
it's a small lot. I'm not sure, you know, being pre-existing, if they say you have 1,000 square feet, you get this many, a percentage of the parking spaces, you get a percentage. I mean, have we ever dealt with anything like that?
No, and how would you control the parking?
Well, that's my
You
thought.
know.
If the total building's 10,000 square feet, it's 4 units at 2,500 each. There's 100 parking spaces, you get 1/4 of them.
Well, for discussion,
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
for discussion tonight, I think the buildings or the buildings within the building have existed for quite a while, which predates 1995.
Right.
Which is when we required a site plan for these establishments with regards to parking, space, what goes with what. That being said, I think, again, this predates 1995, so I don't know if we can hold any one business accountable for a certain number of spaces without making someone else be, penalized for overutilizing it. Again, it predates what we set into motion in 1995.
And how would, how would you police that? It would have to be up to the
would be-
individual tenants and,
I believe that's the way it works right now, and whether or not we have a parking plan, because we
Agreed.
have
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's up to them, not
parking
us.
illegally and
Yeah.
stuff, so.
yeah.
I mean, my just concern is a high turnover ratio in a lot that already seems to be crowded.
Point
And
noted.
again, I don't know if, I don't believe there's anything we can do, but it does give
Yeah,
me
I
a
think
lot of concern.
It would be unfair to this person,
Absolutely.
and it would be unfair to the other
Yeah.
business people as well that are already in that building.
Potentially, it looks like you have 26 seats inside, and of course, there's always going to be some takeout, so you could have as many as 20 cars for this establishment, not including staff.
It's very similar to what we just addressed with Patsy's earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it predates the law, and, they certainly have a grandfather window to work within, and I think this falls within that window.
At least on the Patsy's property, he had full control of his property.
Correct. Right, as far as number of
Yeah.
spaces, with
Right.
regard to number of spaces needed.
Yeah.
And
This one will-
just to clarify, this does not qualify as a restaurant, correct? Okay,
No cooking,
there's no cooking?
no service.
Fine.
It's self-serve total. That's
Just
it.
just to clarify, to make that very clear, this
Totally
is not a
self-service.
restaurant.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
All right, Sandra,
Total self-service.
anything? Anybody else?
One more ice cream place.
No, yogurt.
Yogurt.
Yeah, great.
All right, can I get a motion to approve Froyo World at 52 Shaker Road?
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries
Is that
5-0.
5-0?
Yes.
Thank you.
You get there, George, for time.
And it's 1:15.
I've got quarter of, so
All right,
we
let's-
should move on to...
Let's move on to our 6:45 public hearing, the warrant article for massage therapist.
Which is,
Is that you?
yep.
Okay.
That's in.
I think we've got some stuff to read into record.
Okay.
All right, want to switch?
No.
The East Long Meadow Planning Board will hold a public hearing on April 23rd, 2013, at 6:45 PM in the hearing room, Town Hall, 60 Center Square, to hear the request of Christopher Buendo on a petition for a warrant article to amend the East Long Meadow zoning bylaw 1991 revision in the following manner: by amending Table 3.1 Schedule of Use Regulations to allow massage therapist facility or licensed massage therapy salon to operate under special permit in the commercial district as well as the business and industrial districts. Copies of the petition are available at the office of the planning board, and the petition is attached. We've had the warrant article, I think that's all we need to read at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Chris, you want to come up and tell us what you'd like to do?
Should I sit or stand? What would you
Why don't you
prefer?
sit, make yourself comfortable?
Thank you very much. Planning Board, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. So, a yes vote will allow licensed, legal, legitimate massage therapists to continue to operate in the town of East Long Meadow. Please be aware that every massage therapist facility will still need to come before the Planning Board to apply for a special permit in order to operate. This article simply includes the commercial zone along with the other zones which already allow for massage therapy facilities. Okay? We are kindly asking the town to approve Article 32 so that practitioners like Ginny Levine can continue to operate. Ginny has been in our building since she passed her national exam for massage therapy in May 2010. She is a respected member of the business community. She has many venerable clients in town, and she wishes to continue to operate her business in the Reminder Office building. We appreciate your support, and we thank you for consideration of Article 32.
Okay. Start with the board, and then we'll open up for a public hearing, take some input, and then we'll bring it back to the board. So, George?
Given the extensive exposure we've had to the massage industry in the last year, and recognizing that therapeutic massage is certainly a valid and legitimate medical practice, and given that we allow medical practices in the commercial zone, I am not opposed to this article, personally speaking.
Okay. Ralph? Any input?
I agree completely. I've taken a look at commercial zone, business zone. I think the massage therapist facility would fit in the commercial zone without any adverse effects.
Okay.
I'd have to agree with Georgie and Ralph also. And for the applicant, I think she's well-deserved. She's licensed, respected, and she's got a great clientele, so I think it's definitely a plus.
Okay, Mike?
I have no concerns at this point. George brings up a good point. I'd like to hear from the audience and see if there's any negatives.
Okay. All right, yeah, at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. If you have anything to say, please state your name and your address. Anybody? All right.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
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 You're making motions over there?
Yes. With George's response, you're limiting it to medical, and not all massage therapists are medically connected. So I think we need to be very careful
Excuse me.
to allow...
Excuse me, I did not make that distinction. I simply said that it can be a medical.
Okay, can be, all right,
be.
because I didn't want to limit it to medical.
I am not suggesting that we limit it,
All right.
okay? I'm just suggesting that we limit it to legitimate businesses.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And I think we know where we're going there. So please don't misinterpret me. I am supporting the article to just simply change the district to include the commercial district. Okay?
Okay. Without being redundant, I mirror my fellow board members. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's necessary. I think it's practical. I don't think there's going to be any adverse
I'll make a
effect.
motion that the planning board recommends this article.
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor of recommending the new massage article as written?
Aye.
Mr. Bruno? Aye?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
You're in.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the initiative on this.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
We appreciate your support.
Okay. All right, so we're still at,
Yeah, you tell me that you'll say yes or stop talking.
all right, let's get to our next thing. We're not quite at 7 o'clock, so let's get requests for signage for St. Paul's Lutheran Church at 181 Elm Street.
We have requests for signage, St. Paul Lutheran Church, 181 Elm Street, nearest intersection, Elm Street and Maple Shade Avenue. Proposed square footage of the signs, 24.01. It's single-faced, freestanding, replacement of existing freestanding sign, 48 inches above the ground. It does not attach to the building. Setback from the property line is 20 feet to 36 feet. Distance to the nearest side yard line, it's a corner lot. Number of existing signs is 2. They have 1 existing freestanding sign, 24.5, and an existing attached letters on the west wall of the church. Total numbers of proposed signs are 2. The applicant is St. Paul's Church Council, and this is the proposed sign, which will include the ability to put, have a changeable letter sign.
Anything else?
That's it? I
No,
think.
there's
Is it-
also
is it
yeah,
correspondence,
it's,
or?
no, it's what exists,
Oh.
not that one, but
That's
specific to the
that
other.
one, and
This one.
this one.
Yeah.
Currently, they have a
Brownstone.
brownstone thing, and we also include pictures of what St. Michael's has and what St. Mark's Episcopal has, okay, which are similar to what they're proposing.
What are they gonna do with the old one?
Yeah.
They're not gonna
For
throw
the
that
record,
away.
that sign is pre-existing non-conforming. So
Okay.
before they can put up a new one, they can alter or change that sign, but if they put up a new sign, it has to meet all the criteria for the setbacks for Residence A.
Just has to move.
If they want to put a new sign in its place, the new sign has to meet the setback criteria.
Okay.
All right, it has to be, which is Residence A, which is 1550. But if they want to change or alter that sign, they're allowed to do so. So I think at this point, I would probably recommend them going before the ZBA for a variance as far as the sign goes.
Because it doesn't meet the required setback.
Correct. For what they're proposing to us at this point.
And the sign that they're proposing to replace the brownstone sign,
Is also
is that
too big.
internally illuminated?
No. It's
Okay.
a block of sandstone.
No,
No, no, the
no,
new
the one
sign.
that's
Oh, the new one.
replacing it.
New one.
The other thing too, I think
Um,
the sign is 24 feet and they're only allowed 20 feet, so the sign will have to shrink
Yeah.
By 4 square feet.
for 4 square feet and meet the setbacks. So at this point, I don't see us being able to approve that. I think we should push that.
Is there any specific criteria as far as the removable letters and all on it? And the writing and stuff
Oh,
that
yeah.
can go onto it?
I can
yeah,
read you
that's
the
what
the language of the bylaw if you would like.
Because I believe it says something in there about no commercial, under religious. You can't
As far as,
have a commercial message, basically, or a business message.
I'm not sure I follow you. Could you give me an example? That the religious,
If someone else is holding a function there, paying the church for something, and they're advertising truck show, da-da-da, and that money benefits someone, and it's not going religious, for that entity.
Correct.
I'm just, like I said, I'm asking
Yeah.
more than
I
anything.
think we have, or this board has approved signs that have done
Similar to that?
just that. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think
it-
one of the,
And we don't control the changeable copy.
I don't think we do, no,
No,
just the square
no.
footage of the sign in and of
Right, correct.
itself.
Yeah, that's always been my interpretation.
It would be up to the zoning enforcement officer.
agree?
If there was a commercial,
You do control it,
The changeable copy?
yes. It has to deal with the church itself.
Okay.
yeah, but if somebody, if they're doing something like a craft fair at the church, that's for the church.
I would have to go over the one from St. Mark's,
Yeah.
because that was the most specific and the most recent.
Okay.
In some way, wouldn't it still benefit the church if they're renting the hall?
I don't know.
I think for tonight's discussion, though, we
Okay.
cannot approve that sign,
Great.
size-wise and setback-wise, so I think we should stick with that for
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would recommend zoning board of appeals, and other churches have done similar things.
And this is not internally illuminated.
No, it is not, it
I think
looks,
there's a ground
I mean-
spotlight.
the illuminated is, feet illuminated is blanked out and non-illuminated is blanked out. So they have not indicated illumination or not.
Okay. We should get clarification because we did run into an issue a few years ago with the
With St.
church
Paul's.
being surrounded by homes.
St. Mark's.
And we're in
Oh,
a
right.
similar
Too
situation
many
here.
lights, I do remember that.
Yeah.
But I believe that the redstone is really close to the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is 20 feet back and they need, what, 50?
50 because it is a corner lot.
Yeah, 50 and
So if
50.
if they move it, it's still.
If they move
Yeah,
it
they
and
can't
they meet
anyways.
the criteria for the bylaw, then we can certainly approve it.
Yeah, but then it would be an increase on signage because you're looking at two different signs, square footage wise.
Yeah, that would have to be removed in place, and that's what they want to do. They want to remove that sign with the new sign. But once you do that, you take away the grandfather clause. Unless, for argument's sake, if they wanted to put this on here, they would be allowed to do so.
I got you.
But once you change the dynamics of it, you cannot.
Okay.
That 50-foot setback would put it almost inside the building.
Right.
You're right, that's
Yeah.
something that's.
I don't think they'll have a problem with
Okay.
the variance.
Yeah.
No.
I hate to see that
Unfortunately,
sign
we
going.
cannot do
over.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion in the proper form
They'll probably
to
throw it away.
approve.
George has made a motion to approve the sign.
I'll second.
No,
Well,
to
yeah.
approve
No.
the sign?
Yeah, that's the proper format.
To put it in the positive.
I thought you weren't
I-
going to deny it, though. I thought you were just going to send it to the ZBA.
Well, can it go to the ZBA if it's not been denied?
Yes,
Can?
yes.
Then I revoke the motion, I'll make a motion to continue this until the ZBA has a chance to look at it.
Seconded.
Okay.
All those in favor with that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought you had to
No,
deny it
that's
before it went to
okay.
the ZBA.
Got to the ZBA for variance.
Yeah, someone used that.
Let's get started with
I can give you the one's name.
the warrant articles for town meeting. We open this up to the public hearing, we take these one at a time, discuss them one at a time, as need be, and then vote on them individually. All right?
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
First up, we have fences and walls.
Well, first of all, I need to read the notice. The planning board of the town of East Long Meadow will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 23rd, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the hearing room of Town Hall, 60 Center Square, to discuss the following proposed zoning bylaw changes to be presented at town meeting. Section 3.90, private home, office, or studio. Section 3.343, limitation on size of buildings in industrial districts. Section 3.333, limitation on size of buildings in business districts. Section 3.302, fences and walls. Section 7, definitions. Section 3.07, addition of Section 3.079.2, medical marijuana treatment center and/or cultivation dispensary, and Section 4, floodplain overlay district regulations. And the first one, I guess, is
20 feet from the road.
You should have a packet
Fences and
here,
walls.
where do you want them?
right here. this is what everybody has.
Okay, so the first one we'll take is fences and walls.
Open up for discussion?
Do you want me to read this?
I don't think it's
No,
necessary.
okay.
We don't have
It's
to.
already been printed, it's in the warrant.
Okay.
All
How
right.
about if we just highlight the changes,
I like the changes, and then we can
discuss them?
discuss them. All right, so what do we want to talk about changes? Anybody have any input, any things they want to change, anything they don't like?
What did it read before? You know, what is it reading
It
now?
basically, the changes that the planning board made at the last meeting was the change from street line to property line. And the requirement for a building permit for all fences, that was an addition. Everything else is basically the same, but in better language.
All right, so right now, a building permit is not required for a fence, is that how I understand this?
It's all
Subject?
determined, yeah,
Subject to the building inspector?
right.
Okay.
Is there a fee determined for that building permit yet?
A
I'm
what?
sorry,
Is there a fee for that? How much is the fee for that?
I don't know.
We should probably find that out before meeting.
Is it based on estimated value, like a home building permit would be?
I think that'd be a question for Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's got to be some kind of guideline for him,
I can
I
ask.
would
I'm sure
imagine.
that's gonna be a question.
Okay.
I just want to speak out again in support of use of the property line, because the word street line is ambiguous. The actual curbing on the street can move, streets can be widened as long as they're within the right-of-way, and it would be confusing to a homeowner to measure from the curb, let's say, and consider that the street line. The property line, in fact, is where all setbacks go from, and the property line is what's determined by the deed and the survey.
Correct, and I'd like to add that, you know, this is consistent with most other towns for the same reasons that you stated.
Actually, we have no definition for property line. We have a definition for lot line. And if you read this and actually do up a drawing, what you're basically now saying, if you take property line as being all the way around, your property line's on all sides, you're basically saying you can't have a fence. And my point being, if you take section B, no fence more than 1/4 solid or wall greater than 4 feet in height shall be erected closer to the property line than the setback of the primary building. The setback is the unoccupied space between the property line and the building. Now, which property line are you talking about?
So to clear that up, if we added front setback, that would address that issue.
Problem being is, if you have a corner lot, now you have two. We have a definition existing for street line. I would go back to street line. Street line is the dividing line between a street and a lot. And in case of a public way, the street line established by the public authority laying out said way upon which the lot abuts. It's worked as far as the street line, and whether or not someone thinks of it as the street or not, what they're simply saying is the fence can't be any closer to that portion of the property than the setback of the primary residence. So we're not talking about going out next to the road. What we're talking about is a height of a fence. If the fence is greater than 4 feet in height, it can't come any closer to the street.
So,
All fences can go 6 inches from the property line.
so what you're saying is it's not where the fence could be placed, right? Because whether it's a property line or a street line, it cannot go beyond what's considered the
Primary
front of the
structure.
house
The
or
front
the
of the house,
structure.
exactly.
Okay, so what would it matter if we change the
Street line to
definition from
property
street
line?
line to property line?
Because property line, one, there's no definition, so we're gonna call it a lot line.
Well,
But you have a lot line on all sides. So
Correct.
this here is a lot line, so, I mean, I drew an example
But
of
a
a
street
street.
line, a street line in
Now,
essence
if
is
you
a lot
call
line
it
as
a
well.
property line, you could be talking here, the setback of the building's here.
Yeah.
No fence more than 4 foot can go here. Or you can say the property line here, you can reference on this side, or this side, or this side, or this side, which means you can't put up a fence.
Well, we also have a definition for setbacks, side yard, rear yard, front yard.
No, actually,
We do for every zone.
But what we've just asked to change is the setback is the unoccupied space between the property line and the building,
Okay, which could be front,
Which
back,
could be-
and/or side.
all sides,
Correct.
which means you're right back to where you began, where...
Street line only describes one side.
Exactly, and that's exactly what we're talking about. A fence
Or
4
two
foot
or
high or
three.
higher can go at the back of your lot. It just can't go in front of your house in your front yard.
So if we were just to add that word front to in front of setback, that would address that issue.
Well, and if we add front in front of property line. The front
On B?
property line.
Are you talking about B?
In B, correct.
In B, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think street line is the appropriate word.
I agree.
I think it's confusing.
I
Yeah,
think it's ambiguous. Because you're right, people are gonna think what they want to think is where the asphalt starts, where the sidewalk ends, where the
Correct.
telephone pole is.
yeah.
You know, different streets in different towns have different buffers between the asphalt
Then-
and the actual property line itself.
If we are going to use that terminology, then diagram 8-1 needs to be changed to reflect it.
It has been. You mean to read property line?
No, actually, it says front yard line, but it doesn't show basically where, diagram 8-1
Oh, this
for
is not-
definition in our actual zoning bylaws.
Oh, well,
What I'm
you're
saying,
talking replacing that. So it wouldn't
No,
be
no.
changing it, it would be
we weren't looking to
replacing.
replace this diagram. We
Yeah,
were
with
looking
these.
to add 2 new diagrams in for fencing.
And the appropriate language to coincide with it.
Yeah.
But diagram 8-1 in the zoning bylaw shows side lot line, front lot line, side yard, rear yard.
Well, so does an A and B of the new bylaw.
For fencing, do we refer
Can I
to
see that, George?
to this
I'm sorry.
diagram,
It's got the same
8-1,
thing
that you
here in the new
referenced?
diagrams.
Because that would
Under
be key.
it's lodged in right after definitions.
That should have nothing to do with
It
this.
shows a
That's not
diagram
the
for
fences.
Yeah.
the definition.
Oh, I see that, but is this intended for fence locations?
No,
Okay,
that's what I just looked at.
That's
That's-
intended for
That has nothing
setbacks.
to do with fences.
so this has to do with setback?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That has to do with definitions, I'm assuming, considering it goes under definitions.
We should,
right
I don't
behind
think
it.
we should change that, though, when you're putting this in specifically. That's entirely, that diagram has nothing to do with fences.
So maybe we need to address this as well and refer to this only for setbacks.
What are you talking about?
Diagram
Could I see that
8-1.
again, George, please?
And refer to these for fences only.
Saying change the diagram in the book and with the addition of the 2
No,
new
the
diagrams.
diagram in the book is only referred to for definitions
Yeah,
only.
but where do we refer to that?
It's in a couple other sections of the bylaw itself,
We
not
refer
in
to
the... Yes, we do.
8.8-1? Okay, good, that's why
Yes,
I
we
wanted
do.
clarity on
So
it.
we're covered.
Yes,
that goes.
for
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Not in fences, though.
No, right,
all
it
right.
shouldn't be. And in this one, for the fence article,
Are
we
the
should
new-
only reference,
Two new diagrams.
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
Okay.
So is the suggestion front yard lot line?
Front property line.
Front property line.
Front property line.
In
Instead of
B?
street line.
Or lot line. To me, property line and lot line are one and the same.
Well, they are, but the
And we have a
diagram,
definition for a lot line.
the diagrams show something called the property line.
That's,
Put lot
Well,
and
that's what it
property
was
line.
changed to.
Yeah.
Do lot and/or property line. That way we got both
Yeah.
bases covered.
To me, one isn't any different than the other. Is it to
My only
anyone
concern
else?
is we already have a definition for lot, for a lot line. And if it doesn't mean any difference, stick with one that we already have a definition for.
Fine, go with lot line.
Okay.
That's fine.
I have
Right.
no objection.
okay, so let me just get this straight. So for B, you want to change where it says closer to the property line, you want to change
The
that to
front lot line.
front lot line.
Yep.
And to,
So in the case
And-
where a building inspector determines there's 2 front yards
On a corner lot.
on a corner lot,
Yeah.
then we can't have a fence that goes beyond
The
either
primary
of the
structure.
sides of the house that face the public right of way.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you want every reference,
To property line to be lot line, yes.
Michael?
That makes sense to
Yes,
me.
it does.
Actually, under C, if you look under fence diagram, all walls except retaining walls must be a minimum of 3 feet from property line. That's correct. Because,
We still don't have a definition
well,
of property.
from lot line. It should say lot
We're
line.
splitting
Should say
hairs.
lot line.
Well, no,
I was
no,
just
I'm
gonna say, I
saying-
need to know because I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
change this.
What I'm simply saying is, a fence more than 4 foot high is not supposed to go closer to what we call the street line. Walls, on the other hand, you're looking at keeping them 3 feet in from any property line,
Okay, so any lot line,
any lot line.
lot line. We
Okay.
could change the word property to lot.
Michael,
Yeah.
help me out here.
Yeah, we're gonna change whatever, we're not gonna use a street line, we're not gonna use property line, the new term is gonna be lot line.
For every time it's property.
Correct. Except where noted previously, front lot line.
In B.
Correct.
But only in B,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, does that satisfy everybody's?
Yep.
Yeah,
Sandro?
I'm happy with
Yep.
that.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna open this up to the public. Does anybody have any?
Hold on,
Oh, sorry.
time out. I just want to go back over A again for one quick spot.
Okay,
And that's gonna be, I think, is gonna be a touching point on when it comes up to town meeting. Everybody's gonna see building permit, and they're all gonna get probably bent out of shape, because they're gonna have to spend some more money. We need to clarify that as best as we can, that it's for the applicant and for the neighbor.
The only reason I don't agree with you is because I've seen where people take it upon themselves to put fences up, only to find out they put them on somebody else's property.
I want it. I think
Yeah, I
it's a
think
great
we-
thing to
okay.
have. But remember when we had the deck situation? We went through hell over
Yes.
high water for that, and it's a good thing to have.
I think I'd rather be safe than sorry.
No, you have to have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to have it, but it needs to be explained in
okay,
detail
so,
why it's there.
I agree.
Yeah. It is,
No one's, honestly, I think the rest of it, no one's really gonna care.
So you want
It's
it?
A. A is the one that's gonna be the sticking point.
what would you suggest I'd add to that?
Maybe whoever presents it is gonna have to really push that and
Do we put an
explain
explanation?
it, explain why it's there.
is
I
the
would-
When
building
you
permit,
present it,
Yeah.
is a building permit
And-
being
and the-
required today for a fence?
Subject.
sometimes.
Okay.
That's what I mean, and it's up to the building inspector to
Subject-
determine
subjective.
whether they need a survey or not.
Why don't we
Because
get,
you can put a fence up around a pool, you have to put a fence up around a pool, but it's
Right.
not maybe gonna infringe on a property line or whatever that we were just discussing.
Right.
Does he
is
need a
it-
permit for that?
No, because it's
Or a
about
survey?
boundary
No.
fences.
Yeah.
I think
well,
you covered that with the
Then-
word boundary.
fences? Okay,
Then
that's a good
let's
point.
So for the presenter, just
definitely
to,
gotta push that,
okay.
Yeah.
because I think people are gonna get,
So a full explanation as
Yeah,
to what the
resentful.
problems have
Yeah.
been, okay.
Okay.
I just think it's gonna be an issue at meeting.
Okay. Good point.
It's another fee for someone to incur on putting up a fence. I mean,
Okay.
it protects both sides,
Yep.
and I think
Agreed.
if I was putting up a fence that cost me 15 grand or 20 grand,
You know, it's
I'd
money.
definitely have the place surveyed,
Sure.
Right, yeah,
because to do that twice, God bless you.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Can we,
All right, now I'm gonna open up to the public. Does anybody have any comments on our fence, new proposed fence bylaw? If you do, please state your name and address for the record. Deb, I see you smiling. You got anything to say? Okay, just check.
Marilyn Richards, this is a zoning review committee, this is our proposal for you guys that we're talking about. And I guess we're okay with what's being decided on because, we initially had suggested straight line, and then when we met with you, you said property line.
Yep.
Now we're saying front lot line. I think it's all the same, really.
Yeah, but I think the more
Because-
clarification we get, the better.
Absolutely. So I think we're okay with it.
yes, sir.
All right.
I mean, that something was
That didn't
gonna
sound
happen
convincing,
and you-
but
Who is that? Who are you?
I'm sorry?
Marilyn? Are you agreeing with us? Nice.
all right, so you guys, everybody's okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right.
That's all. I mean, as long as we understand. I've always felt setback meant the street. In land use, I've always, in my experience, setback meant off the road. And so if it was just a single lot or a corner lot, the setback would be honored the front of the property and the side of the property, but I can see where people have different language use, and so it
Street line can mean a lot of different things to many different people.
Right.
So, sir, name and address?
Ned Schwartz, I'm also on the zoning review committee.
Okay.
My only concern is, one of our charges was to make sure the language was consistent throughout all the bylaws.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that the use of the word lot is not going to run into consistency issues with other bylaws that use the word property, and whether or not there is some distinction between the two. And right now, I don't know if there is any, because, you know, we've been discussing property all along, and now all of a sudden we're hearing the word lot.
Yeah, and I see your point, but I think for tonight, we're gonna just stick with the fence rather than try to address, I see where you're going, and that may be something we need to address at a later date, but I think right now we're trying to propose this warrant article for town meeting, so I think we need to get the language correct for the town meeting that's, you know, coming before us, and then if there are some other variations in the bylaws, I think we can work on that after the fact, rather than try to get all that information now. Because we can make simple changes without going to town meeting. So if there are some discrepancies as far as continuity, like you suggested, then we can address that at a later date.
And I would suggest that diagram 8.1, which is the definitions, specifies that the edge of the property is a lot line.
Okay.
Okay?
Terrific.
So that, this is consistent with diagram 8.1, and if we use property elsewhere, then we can pick up on that
And correct that.
and get it corrected, so that we're using one definition and one word.
All right. Any other comments from the public? All right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved?
Second.
Are we closing the public hearing?
Just on this article.
For this article.
Just an article.
But are we just voting on to support this article?
Yes.
At this point, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing one at a time.
Closing the public
Okay.
hearing, and then
Correct. Then we will vote on it.
Okay.
All right.
Are you thinking something different, Robin?
We don't have to close the public.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
might as well
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Only because the legal notice included
all of them?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to recommend this article regarding fences and walls as amended.
So moved. Or
Second.
seconded, rather, sorry.
All right. All those
Mr.
in-
Chairman?
Yes.
Can we just check with the building inspector as far as, just for informative purposes, whether or not a building permit's actually required of a fence? I think it is now 4 feet and above. I'm curious for the board for later
That will make a difference for the
on.
warrant article, though.
Doesn't make a difference.
We can certainly
in the
make a note of
warrant,
that.
but
I think
Thank
for
you.
tonight, we'll make a note of his suggestion and get the answers to that. All right. All those approving the fence bylaw as amended, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Next article. To see if the town will vote to amend the East Long Meadow zoning bylaw 1991 revision by amending section 7 in the following manner. To amend section, Robin?
It should be 8.
Section-
Yeah, it is 8.
Section, I'm sorry, to amending section 8 in the following manner. To amend section 8 definitions by inserting and/or revising in proper alphabetical order the following: area and/or facility for sporting activity, an area that is designed to offer athletic-type events to be viewed by a significant number of spectators, with said spectators either seated or standing, including but not limited to professional/commercial sports stadium and/or arena, a professional/commercial ice hockey rink and/or ballpark or a hippodrome. Town sports are addressed under school, park, and recreation and do not apply to this section. Setback. Minimum required setback. The minimum required unoccupied space or area between the property line and the back of the part of the building nearest to such property line, such unoccupied space or area extending the entire width or distance across the lot. B, building setback. The unoccupied space or area between the property line and the part of the building nearest such property line, such unoccupied space or area extending the entire width or distance across the lot. Wall. An upright structure composed of, but not limited to, stone, masonry, or concrete material serving to enclose, divide, or protect an area, and pass any vote or take any other action relative thereto.
Discussion, comments? Anybody? Ralph?
Under setback, I believe we should be changing the property line to lot line again.
I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Under building setback, the unoccupied space or area between the front lot line and the part of the building near such front lot line.
I think that makes sense.
And then my only other concern is under the area and/or facility for sporting activity, an area that is designed to offer athletic-type events to be viewed by a significant number of spectators. How many is that? And who's the judge of it?
Correct. Yeah.
The only thing, I would be concerned about putting a number on it because of the size of the facility.
But how do you define significant?
I want to say subjective, but that's open-ended. That
Right,
doesn't-
it is. It is.
But for this discussion, I mean, you can have a place that's 5,000 square feet or a place that's 50,000 square feet. You know, the number of spectators is going to vary from site to site depending on the sporting event and/or the size of the event and/or the notoriety of the event, for that matter.
Would it
I mean, you do
be
a number.
appropriate to remove significant and number?
Just put spectators?
Not so much spectators, but paid spectators.
I don't agree with that either.
Because, you know, there's a lot of events in town where parents go to watch their children, or relatives or friends come out to watch children play basketball.
Yep.
Is that going to be considered a sporting, a facility for sporting activity? Does it fall under that definition? Or are we trying to create a definition that identifies paid sporting events, such as an example, in this area would be the Falcons, say, or the Springfield Armor? Is that what we're trying to do?
I don't think so.
Then why are we creating this definition?
I think, because one, we don't have one.
But
far
what
as-
are we trying to define?
I know in the past we've had issues with trying to set guidelines for people that have tried to do things like this. And we had parking issues, we had spectator issues, we had capacity issues. I think this is a step in the right direction. I don't know if this is the answer for all of it, but I know it is a step in the right direction.
This is a use that's identified in the bylaw. The use is identified, but it's not defined.
It's not defined in depth.
Okay, and that was the issue, that we had a use that we did not define, and we needed to distinguish between amateur and school events and professional events that would have a greater impact on the town.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
In a professional environment, the spectators usually have to pay to get in. Else there'd be no point of having a professional event such as that.
Do we charge for high school games?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
But
Charge for everything.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean,
not all
town
events are going to
sports are
pay.
addressed under school, park, and recreation. So as far as a high school football game or whatever,
That would not apply.
that wouldn't apply to this. But my thought on this is you don't want a large stadium, whether it be, you know, Gillette Stadium or, I mean, obviously that's to the extreme. I don't think our infrastructure can handle that.
great.
I think that's where we're trying to go, but I just don't know quite how to get there.
I'm not dissatisfied with how we have it written now. Could it be written better? Yes. How could it be written better? I'm not sure of the answer to that.
I like it. I realize that the word significant is open to interpretation, but that's what we're here for.
Right. Because if you close one window, you open up another one with regard to numbers.
Yeah.
What's is significant to one person may not be to another.
I think it's better than what we have,
Agreed.
which is nothing.
I don't know, I think...
Can we open it to?
Yeah, let's,
see if there's any input?
Let's open up to the public. Again, please state your name and address. I'm sorry.
So I'll be chomping at the bit. Marilyn Richards, 342 Pinehurst. I brought this up because historically, this has been an issue as far back as when I was on your Board of Selectmen with respect to Section 3.026, which identifies area and facility for sporting activity.
Okay.
It's a use that is not allowed in any zone throughout the entire town. Why isn't it allowed? And, you know, we've always been told that it had to do with the scope of the sporting activity, the scope of the area. How do you define the scope? You know, is it 10,000 people? Is it 5,000 people? I mean, we really struggled with how to define the scope. And Ralph was on the committee when we went back and forth, and we knew that the number of spectators would be an issue because it was an issue for us. But we thought if we put examples, like a hippodrome or a civic center or a facility that would attract thousands of people, you know that that's not suitable for our town because we couldn't handle it. So, you know, this isn't a new issue. We just thought we would try to come up with something that would, and at least the definite or the examples, send the message that it's huge. We're not talking about recreational facilities that we've approved very nicely in this town. We're talking about something that's huge. So that's why we did what we did in terms of examples.
Okay.
But I agree with you. Ralph struggled with it when he was on the committee with us in terms of the number of spectators.
Right.
You know, so
So it is or is not significant.
right.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back to the board for more comment.
I think the definition is a lot better than what we have here.
Agreed.
I feel as though when someone gets up on the floor to present it, that's going to be one of the questions. And if we decide to back it, we're going to have to be prepared for that. So,
I agreed.
Do we want to take out significant number and just put spectators in? To simplify it?
I think if you do that, then that's basically eliminating even the small recreation. I mean, what we're talking about is a large venue.
But that's
And-
included in, if you continue on with it.
Well, but if you say spectators, you'd be hitting Pioneer Gymnastics, for instance, which has spectators. I think significant is, it's open to interpretation, and that's our job. That's my feeling.
All right, so you want to leave it in there?
I would.
Okay. Sandro?
Nothing.
Mike?
I'm still torn because I'm still struggling with that word significant. I understand what we're trying to accomplish, but, you know, when you're standing before the town, how are you going to define significant? And you know we're going to be posed that question.
Correct. I'd rather see the language get through than not get through, because rather than not, right now, we don't have anything at all.
Agreed.
All right, I would...
So will you be presenting this?
I would like to take significant number out and just put spectators in. I think that would simplify it. I think that gives us a starting point. I think it's less ambiguous than significant.
So if someone was to challenge that, and they brought up the gymnastic facility next door, would that be considered a school? Educational?
We've always considered that one to be a school.
Okay.
Based on zoning.
Okay. And anything relative to the school, you know, recreation, basketball, that's all under, that's all addressed under the last sentence.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
We had someone come in front of us a while back for inline skating,
Right.
and
I think that's how we got here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
there's people that go and spectators that stand and watch there. And if now all of a sudden you're taking spectators out of it,
I don't take spectators out. I want to take significant number. So
Well, that
An area is
brings,
designed to offer athletic-type events to be viewed by spectators.
which means that you can't have spectators there, is what you're basically
You
saying.
can. That's what I'm,
No, but what Ralph's saying
am I
is,
missing something here?
yeah,
No.
if you remove significant, you're always gonna have somebody watching those games, you know, like at the Olympia,
Yep.
okay? So now you're prohibiting those.
I don't think so. I want to take a significant number out of that sentence and leave spectators. I'm not changing the intent of the sentence or the intent of the bylaw. I just want to take significant number out for, for interpretation practices.
Right, it would leave you an area that is designed to offer athletic-type events to be viewed by spectators, with said spectators either seated or standing, included but not limited to professional, commercial stadium, which,
Again, significant numbers is going to cause,
Keep in mind, this is a facility for sporting activity that is not allowed. So you're defining a use that is being watched by people that is not allowed.
right.
Yeah, I have trouble with that.
You see what I'm saying?
I do know.
Yeah. Now, I'll make a motion to recommend the article with the amendment changing property line to lot line. Other than that, as written.
For setbacks,
Yeah,
under minimum required setback and building setback?
yeah, changing property line to
And
lot
leaving-
line.
Under,
And leaving everything else the way it is.
Leaving everything else as written.
And how about under the definition of wall, where we have the word or, it should read comma, and we should insert the word to, protect an area, as you read it.
I don't think you needed two.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Or protect an area.
I think or covers.
Two covers enclose, divide, or protect. That's grammatically correct.
under setback,
You read it
B,
as to.
building setback, I believe it should be front lot line.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, the property
you.
line to lot
All
line,
right,
both of
okay,
those.
I
Front.
don't have that.
Okay, all right, so
How
let's...
about area
let's-
for sporting?
Let's go through one of these. We're going to
Yeah.
go back to the first one.
One
We're
at
going
a
to stick
time.
with the language as it's written. All right?
I agree.
The second one, we're going to change setback, nearest front property line.
There are two property lines mentioned in there, they both get changed to lot.
Lot line, correct. And one was going to be changed to front, if I'm not mistaken.
Under,
Okay,
Yeah.
which one?
under B, building setback,
Okay, no, we're on A right now.
Okay, let's stick with A.
it should be lot line.
Yeah,
Right.
lot line. That's
Cross
all
out the two
we've
property and
changed.
make those lot.
Yeah,
Property to lot.
Right, on A.
right,
All right,
Okay.
everybody in agreement with
Yeah.
that?
right.
Yes.
Correct.
Now we're going to move to B. The unoccupied space or area between the property line, which is going to become the lot line. I'm sorry, front lot line.
Front lot.
And the part of the building nearest such property line, such lot line,
Front lot line.
front lot line, thank
Oh,
you.
Why front? Because there's also a side yard. Lot
I think
setback
building
on a
setback is from, side yard is its own definition. Setback is,
Okay,
I think that makes sense.
fine,
Well, setback applies to side and front and rear.
yeah.
Well, side is side yard, setback.
But it's setback, it's still setback.
All right, it's designed,
So you don't need the front,
okay.
you just need to change property to lot,
On both of them.
on both of them.
All right, so we're
There
not
are
even
four
put front in.
instances.
What's the difference between minimum required setback then and building setback?
Well, building is not always set to the minimum.
Correct. So if you had a required setback of 20
Okay.
and you put a house
Nope.
at 40,
Okay,
Yeah.
Click
Or
then, thank you,
Okay.
If you have a pre-existing non-conforming setback,
thank you.
okay. All right, so we're good with setback B?
yeah,
yeah,
All right. We're all right with the wall?
I am.
I'm fine with that, as is.
All right, we've got a motion
As amended.
as amended. Do I have a second on that motion to approve this
Second.
article for definitions?
He seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. The next article. This is a long one.
We want to,
We
is
need to read this whole thing, Robin?
Your chairman.
Okay, this is the floodplain.
this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Do we want to take, pause this and have, meet with Debbie at 7:30?
Sure.
Sure.
I think that might make her life easier. And,
Yes.
that way we
Yeah.
get on with this. Deb, if you got,
I make a motion to continue the public hearing until after our meeting with Selectman Baranski.
Second.
So
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Come on up, Deb.
But I don't enjoy.
We might
We're still about 9:30, so.
And I do appreciate your hard work and effort. And
Thank you, and we appreciate yours as well.
thank you. So thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. This is my first official appearance as your new selectman. And I just wanted to be here tonight so that I had a full understanding of what I need to prepare for May 7th. I'm very excited about the opportunity to develop the Brown property with the community gardens, and I believe we've submitted all the paperwork that we need to submit. And because I'm new at this, I just wanted an opportunity to sit before you and ask if you had any questions, or have you let me know if there's something that I need to be doing, so that when we come back officially on the 7th, that there won't be any unforeseen circumstances. I have a copy of your zoning and planning bylaws right here.
Sure you're ready? Come on.
I can tell you where all the spaces where it says property on all the pages. We can do that later, but
Ralph sleeps with his.
Ralph sleeps with his.
Just let you know, we do have a roundtable scheduled for the 30th.
30th. All right, okay,
And
so if
that's
anybody
with
wants
all
to
the
attend.
departments and the police and fire and DPW and myself and you, and I think Nick is going to be there also, and Michael has asked to be there so that he can see how things go, and Ralph has asked the same thing.
Can you remind me of that one?
Sure, April 30th.
Because I'll forget.
And at 10 o'clock here in the meeting room.
Yes.
And it'll show you how the departments all get together and pick apart a plan. You know,
Nice.
actually they do. They sit there, you know, and
Pick
anything
apart.
that's wrong
Pick
so
apart.
that the changes can be made prior to, oh, and Michael Smith will be there too. Prior to the public hearing.
Okay.
So that by the time you get to the public hearing, all the changes have been made. So when the board reads the reports into the record, all the changes have been made, so there's no need to continue it. And they usually make a decision that night.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So I wanted to make sure you knew.
Great.
Right.
Does anybody have anything to add to that? Or is any unforeseen things that we're not seeing?
Actually, I don't have any problems with that. I'm looking forward to the roundtable. I'm looking forwards to the site plan review. My only question to the board would be, we're talking about a garden being installed. I don't know, as far as just the garden goes, I don't know why we would need a site plan. It's allowed in every zone. It's on a property that was previously considered a farm. It had agricultural use up front for hay. I mean, I've seen us do so many waivers when we haven't changed anything. Now, with that being said, as far as the agricultural use, I personally would say that we only needed a waiver for the gardens. But with changes that have been suggested as far as the width of the road going in and as far as parking, I could see a site plan. I just, like I said, I mean, if the only suggestion was to put gardens in, I would say that we're going overboard by doing a site plan. I mean, I just wanted the board's thought and feeling on it.
I think one concern I had was just going from private property to public property. So I'm assuming it will be accessed by the public?
It is now, though, isn't
It
it?
is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Only since the town purchased it.
Okay, but what
Before it
I
was
mean, we
private
have,
property.
Yeah.
you know, stuff for ADA, I mean, do we need to worry about that? Are those things that we need to take into consideration as far as preparing this site for the general public, whereas before it was just prepared for, you know, private use?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I think that's something we, at the very least, I'd like to hear the other boards' input on.
Yeah.
Maybe take some of their suggestions and move forward. I'm not saying we need to do anything because it exists now. And I don't think we're talking a huge influx of people, but I think it's something we need, at the very least, need to talk about and maybe address.
And who would be addressing that? This board?
This board, but I would like input from
All
the police
boards.
department,
Yeah,
fire
all
department.
boards, yeah.
Which would be the round table. I mean,
Correct, would be the roundtable discussion. That way,
Okay.
everybody can, if anybody has any concerns, suggestions, ideas, we can air them out right there. But that way, we get back here, we have some of those already discussed and
Okay.
I agree with the chairman, because I think there are, with the town taking it over, okay, we've got public health issues, we've got safety issues, that we need to
I think just in
be
general, we have liability
cognizant
issues.
of.
Right. Don't people park there and walk the trails now?
Yeah, I do certainly.
Okay. So at this point, as it stands without gardens, people drive in, park on the bumpy,
Yep.
Right.
unmanaged
Again,
property.
I'm not
and
saying-
and they walk around, so we
Right.
are liable now.
Right.
Right. But by developing it into a community garden and encouraging people to come there,
Understood.
you know, it brings another level
Mhm.
to be thinking about.
Mhm.
And it's the first step in what will hopefully be a
Yeah, I
a
don't think
better
we want to make it
development.
any more, harder than it needs to be, but I think we want
Yeah,
to make sure we
yeah.
cover all our bases to
I
make sure.
think that we owe it to the town to make sure that we're providing a safe place, a sanitary place, for people to be. And-
Great.
I mean, I've seen the place at full tilt when there was 100 horses there, and the parking hasn't changed since. And
Right, I don't want to
mean,
reinvent the wheel.
I
just wanna make
personally
it-
don't believe there's a ton of changes that are going to happen there. Do you need to make the road bigger?
Yeah, we've had a plan
I think that's-
submitted by, and I'm happy to share that with you.
Yeah.
DPW went out and put together, superintendent did a fabulous job for us. I think you should have received some of those.
We do
Yeah,
have.
we do.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
And keep in mind, it's not just for our department, but it's
Yeah.
for fire and
Yeah,
police
we have
to
to
determine,
make sure everybody else is all right
what's
with what we're-
necessary.
Yeah, I mean, the police chief, we talked about lowering the speed limit on a couple of, in a couple of areas to make it safer as people are entering, and
Good luck with
felt,
that.
he felt, well, the signage.
Good luck with that. I
And
think
the
that's great.
graphics, the one-way signage
Yeah.
that works so well.
Preferably about 4:30 in the morning, 5, that'd be nice.
Well, I don't know if they'll be doing anything in the gardens at 4:30.
You never know.
They certainly
But I
would
think,
be.
I think at the roundtable, if
Great,
Rick Bates
okay.
has any, concerns, or we can, get them all out in the open
Great.
and discuss them further.
Well, then I
Move
just
further.
really wanted an opportunity to say hello and thank you for your hard work,
Terrific.
and to look forward to moving this forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
And thank you for interrupting your conversation.
Should we take some more of those?
You're welcome to stay.
Yeah, why don't we take, I want to take the 7:45, because that's kind of
I'm
a,
sorry,
take the 7:45, that's more clerical than anything else.
Yeah.
which one is that?
Optimum.
Continuation of the Optimum Massage. And correct me if I'm wrong, we still need to, I think we're gonna continue this for lack of documentation and or
Correct.
license.
Mhm.
All right, do we need to read anything to the record? Or can we just get a motion to
she here?
continue?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to talk to her?
Sure, want to come up and sit in the hot seat?
So we're gonna open the continuation?
Yes, we are gonna open the continuation hearing. Do we have anything to read?
Do we have anything?
No,
Okay. All right, so, correct me if I'm wrong, you're trying to get an application for establishment, you're trying to get an establishment license? Or
Right.
Okay.
Yes, and then the license, I have a lapse on the license right now, which I'm in the process of renewing, so.
Okay, so if it's all right with you and the rest of the board, I think probably just continue this until you get those
Yeah, should be within the
licenses.
next week or so.
All right.
Or, if I may,
Sure.
how long do you expect your renewal process to take?
Should be within the next about week and a half.
That's what I thought.
I probably won't have paperwork for it yet, but it'll be in the
But do
system.
you have the application for that? And
They're
do you
sending me a new application because I couldn't find the other one.
Okay, if you
So-
can give the board a copy of the application.
Okay.
As well as a copy of the application for the
The establishment.
establishment.
That one I can, well, I couldn't print it out for some reason, but you can download those. I couldn't download
Okay,
the other one.
if you can provide that, because that was the quandary between the state and the town. The
Okay.
state said you had to have the town permit, and the town said you had to have the state permit. So the board determined that as long as she provides you with an application that she has applied for the establishment license,
Yep.
that you could allow the permit to be granted contingent upon receiving that. So
So-
2
Okay.
weeks would be enough?
Tops, yeah.
All right, why don't we say 30 days, and if she gets the stuff sooner, we'll schedule her sooner? Does that make sense?
That would
We
get
have to
to-
do it continued to a certain date.
Okay, do you think 2 weeks will be enough time?
Should be, but who knows with other things that have been going on, but.
Copy of your agenda, I believe.
If it deals with the state, I'd give her 30 days.
Thank you.
Well, that's what I want to, so if it comes in sooner, we're prepared. I mean, we
absolutely.
can put her on the agenda for next meeting if it doesn't.
May
matter.
7th?
Yeah, all right,
Right, yeah.
At 6:30?
all right.
Or do you want to make it 6:45? The community gardens plan is for 7. No, 6:30 should be.
It's gonna take 5
We
minutes.
might run over. All right, so can I get a motion to continue this to May 7th at 6:30?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we're gonna continue this to time and date.
Yep.
And,
May
go from
7th
there.
at 6:30, thank you.
Good.
All right.
Awesome, we'll see you then.
All right,
Thanks
let's
for
go
coming in.
Thanks.
back to the warrant articles. We have a few more of those to tackle.
Robin, on that Hamden, on the gardens here, give me that info.
I'm sorry?
Email me that info.
Time and date. All right, the next one is floodplain districts. Do we need to read all that, or can we just?
No. It's been published. This is basically to bring the floodplain district boundaries into up to date based on the Hampden County flood insurance rate map issued by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And it's basically a technical amendment in order to bring it up to date because they changed the boundaries.
All right, for
And
the
they
record,
changed the reference.
okay, for the record, I want to open up the public meeting back to the warrant articles.
Okay.
All right, any comments or input from the board as this article is written?
It's been changed, as we said last time, it looks good to me.
Okay.
My understanding is that the maps have not actually changed significantly at all. It's just a matter of a new data, a new map that we're referring to. Okay, they reissued the maps, basically.
It's a
Okay.
mess.
All right.
Yeah.
78 one is so much better. This one, it's all quadrants, so you can't open a zoning, I mean, a floodplain map like we used to be able to. There's like 15 different maps. It's difficult to read.
Okay, I want to open up to the public. Anybody have any input on this article as it's written? All right, I'm going to bring it back to the board. We get a motion to approve the article as written.
I make a motion to recommend the article as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, article's recommended. Okay, next one is the private home office or studio, 3.9.
Okay. And you have a copy of that in front of you.
I do.
You get everything.
All right, do we want to read this or just let it go as it is?
Yeah.
All right, comments? Anybody? Ralph, start with you.
As always. My main concern is, not even 1 year ago at annual town meeting, we brought something like this forwards, and it was overwhelmingly voted against. The public had concerns over us changing anything. I don't know if going at it with a small amount of changes in it is going to get us through. I have concerns about bringing it back in front of the town, asking them to vote primarily on the same article again.
You know, from what I could recall, item I seemed to create the biggest concern. Granted, we had a little different wording, and when I read this wording here, I'm not sure it will alleviate any of those concerns. What's being presented is, in item I, the home occupation shall not generate additional pedestrian or vehicular traffic.
Okay.
Shall not generate additional from what? Additional from the existing home? If that's the case, then it's no different than the wording that was presented last time, and we're going to face the same opposition.
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with Ralph. I don't even know if I want to bring this forward.
I agree.
I think maybe it's too soon.
Yeah. If we
Because we have language now.
If we were to strike item I would be a little more supportive of this article, because that was the big hang-up last time.
Okay. Let's make that note.
Does anybody feel differently?
My only,
George?
You know, I really think this is an important thing to tie down, and if item I is going to get in the way of doing this, then I think that maybe we should drop the item I.
Keep that note on the back burner for now. Sandra, do you have anything to add?
I want to hear what the public has to say.
I would agree with that. All right, going to open this up to the public, again, name and address. I'm going to start with Marilyn. It's all right. All right.
Ned Schwartz, 143 Union, and also member of the zoning review committee.
Okay.
You may remember I advocated against rather strenuously at the last town meeting the way it was structured last time.
Okay.
And I think I understood the nature of the problems, which is why I was so anxious to get involved with the review committee so we could come up with something that would be effective. I disagree, Ralph. I think that I was not necessarily the main issue. And let me just explain where we came from. The committee spent weeks and over several meetings over several weeks discussing this, coming from a multitude of different perspectives. And I think the common thing that we agreed on and compromised on overall was that we wanted to maintain the integrity of the residential district, and we wanted to ensure that property values for the future would be protected as a result of that, and that we should, instead of focusing as the current bylaws, which I think is really bad and I would like to see replaced, it singles out particular activities, which, as far as I could see, made no sense in terms of why they would be restricted over other activities. So we focused on creating a bylaw revision that would emphasize the outward manifestation of a home office to make sure that in no way would it in any way change the character of the residential district. In doing so, we looked at the home office bylaws for the towns surrounding East Longmeadow, including Longmeadow, Hamden, and Ludlow. And we kind of synthesized all those bylaws and came up with what we submitted, except for item A. And I'll get to that in a minute. But I think in order to address item I think it could be solved very easily because, again, this is an outward manifestation. We don't want to have a business in a residential district. And if it creates vehicular traffic, I don't think anyone would argue with that. And so the whole idea here is to concentrate on B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I, that we would assure ourselves that it's a home. And it's not going to be presented as a commercial or a business entity, and it's not going to create traffic. It's not going to create extra noise. It's not going to in any way be, other than through signage or any other manifestation, anything other than a home. Okay, and I think that the people of East Longmeadow probably would support this, and I would even advocate for it, having last year not advocated for it, is that we want to protect the residential districts. And what we came up with here actually, I think, does that by not focusing on what's going on inside the house, but what is outside of the house, and do we preserve the residential nature. Now, that having been said, I do disagree, and I was curious why the board chose to amend our proposed subsection A and substituted it with the current subsection A, which requires all activities to be come before the board for a site plan approval. Our original proposal, and I would like to ask the board to reconsider that so that we can all go together and support this before the town in May, that our original proposal said that if you require a license, for example, because you need a business bank account, we have an external governmental agency which requires a license in order to get a commercial banking account. And if that is the case, then that would be an appropriate juncture, objectively speaking, taking away from any subjectivity, that you need to review what's going on to make sure that it's appropriate. But to do it carte blanche overall, I think establishes and creates some privacy issues and over-regulation issues that I think would prohibit or would inhibit professionals from moving into town. And obviously, I think we would like to have professionals move into town because that would support home values for the future. So instead of trying to, I would recommend, the only thing I'm specifically recommending here is that we do proceed because the existing bylaw is I think, highly inappropriate because of its singling out of specific activities. And if I could encourage you to accept the original submission by the review committee, I think that we could make a unified front, and in fact, I would be willing to, as we discussed at the last meeting, speak in favor of this, presenting a very cogent argument why this makes sense for the town, why it's better for the town. But I could only do that if A is adjusted the way it was submitted by the zoning bylaw committee.
Do we have a copy of that?
Yes.
One of the reasons, just to give you an example, if I, for example, am a marriage counselor, or I'm an attorney who specializes in family law, and I have somebody come to my home for some consulting, I don't necessarily want somebody knowing, because I had to make it public through a site plan approval, that I do marriage counseling. Somebody may come to me for advice, and maybe that person doesn't want to know they're contemplating divorce or something like that. I could be a physician.
But wouldn't that, sorry to interrupt you, but wouldn't that be contrary to item I? Because you said shall not generate additional pedestrian or vehicular traffic.
Well, it depends how you define traffic, but I think having one person come over to your house does not by itself constitute traffic.
But that was the example given at the last public
No,
hearing.
the last example,
Yeah.
the last public hearing, if I correctly remember, was that it banned any person to come over to the house.
Correct, but there was an attorney who came forward and said, so if, as an example, if I have somebody come over my house just to sign papers,
Right.
one person,
That's right.
I'm in violation of the bylaw.
As
which
proposed
is
last year.
Which is in violation of item I.
I would respectfully disagree with that
Well,
interpretation. Last year,
read item I to me out loud and tell me the difference.
right, the home occupation should not generate additional pedestrian or vehicular traffic. Last year, patrons, clients, or customers are not permitted in the residence on the property for business purposes. That's what was objected to, and the comment that was correct, that if I have somebody come over and sign papers, that would be in violation, which last year was subparagraph I, was patrons, clients, or customers are not permitted in the residence or on the property for business purposes.
So what's the difference? You're creating more traffic. Whether it's one car or 100 cars, you don't define that in item I.
That gets back to like the significant spectator
Right.
situation, but that's what if there's a consistent flow of traffic in and out of the house for an attorney with people signing, real estate, whatever,
But
then that has to be addressed.
But where do you draw the line?
Well-
You're adding more ambiguity.
If a neighbor says and complains that there's a constant flow of cars in and out of his house, that has to be addressed, but if one person comes over a week, that's not traffic in my estimation, and I don't think anyone would interpret it in that regard.
You know, in the past, we've always tried to make things black and white,
Well-
and here we're just adding more gray to it. And
I
to me, it's
disagree.
no different than what was last.
I disagree. I would define traffic as more than one vehicle at a time over, or whatever. I mean, I hear what you're saying. You could strictly define traffic as even one car, but I think in a
Correct.
general interpretation of traffic, that means congestion of some sort. And if there's any congestion created, then I would be the first one to stand up and say, that doesn't belong in a residential district.
So you could have one car every 15 minutes, as long as it doesn't add to congestion.
That's subject to interpretation, but I think what the objection was last meeting was having one person a day, is that traffic? One
That was
person
the
a week?
example. That was the example given. Correct?
Well, no, that was the refusal to even allow one client to come over.
Right, which is one additional car.
But I think the difference between banning one client to come over and not increasing traffic are two different animals here.
I think once you open up that can of worms, now you're being subjective. One car, 2 cars, 10 cars.
Right. Yeah.
And once you've started that process, it's going to hard to go back and stop that process, because we all know somebody will take advantage of it.
Well,
And that correlates completely with home values. I don't want my neighbor having an inflow of cars, because that's going to create more traffic. So I'm hearing you in one sense, but I'm also, you're conflicting with what you're trying to tell me in another sense.
I agree. I guess I have a different interpretation of traffic. And I used the word, in fact, I think I was the one who put this I in there in place of last year's I, because the word traffic, to me at least, imports multiple cars in a condensed area of time.
Okay.
And, but the objection last year was I can't even have one person come over and sign papers.
Right.
I don't think any reasonable person would define that as traffic.
I disagree.
And if
And
we
I can't
disagree, then we
support it.
disagree.
I agree with
can't
that
support it
statement,
for that
but
reason.
I don't, what if an attorney has 10 people a day come over?
I'm sorry?
What if an attorney has 10 people a day come over, or 10 people a week? I mean,
Or a
you can't
counselor.
tell somebody you can only have one vehicle, because it's gonna be impossible to enforce.
Correct.
It's
And it will
I-
get abused.
Well, I disagree. I mean, if a neighbor sees a line of traffic come in, they file a report, and then it's our job to enforce that the traffic cease and desist.
Okay.
Okay?
All right,
Under,
point noted.
under A, just to touch on it, any business right now that's running a residential district requires a waiver of site plan. You're operating a business, you're changing the use of the place.
But there's actually-
The difference between a business certificate and what we have here is very simple. I have a corporation. I go to the bank. I don't need a business certificate to open up that bank account. But yet I should have to let the town know that I'm gonna use 20% office space in my house to do it.
Ralph, I think I gotta correct you on that one. I think you do need a business cert to get a checking account.
I disagree because I just opened up one under Bear Down LLC at United Bank, and articles of incorporation were sufficient to open up a business checking account.
And I would agree, because a lot of people operate businesses without having a business checking account. A lot of people operate businesses using a personal account. You don't need a business checking account to run a business.
But you do need a business
But you need to do the-
certificate to operate in East Long Meadow as a business, according to the clerk's office.
So you're not legitimate, you're not a legitimate business if you don't have a business checking account.
Define legitimate.
You know what,
It's more of a
the
legal
IRS
issue.
doesn't
Right.
really look at
They don't.
which
They just want their money.
checking account it came out of, as long as they receive their money.
Yeah.
I have a taxpayer ID number, I have a
But you're
business
talking
account.
banking. The
Well, that's what I'm
town
saying.
requires that any business in town file a business certificate.
And who enforces that?
That's not my job. I have nothing to do with that. The town clerk's office and town council has put that together, so it's up to them.
You had something further?
Yeah, George's issue was brought up the last time we were before the committee, and I took that into consideration because you're correct.
Yeah.
You could be a sole proprietor or whatever and not necessarily have to have a business account. I think that's what the committee decided B through I would do. If it's so small and ancillary to your residents that you don't need a separate bank account, I mean, you're not that large, in your activity is not that large or significant, the whole purposes of B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I assure that there's no outward manifestation of what's anything other than the outward appearance of a business, as a residence. Therefore, that's exactly the appropriate time that if somebody's acting in that small of a scale, that's the whole purpose of B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I is to ensure that the residential integrity is maintained. And whether or not I'm a C or a LLC or a corporation really is irrelevant because it has no material manifestation to the outward appearance or activity of the house. Whether I'm organized as an LLC or a sole proprietor, it has no outward manifestation whatsoever. And if it is small, that I don't have a bank account, and I don't have an LLC, that's the whole purpose of having this bylaw, is to demonstrate that it's small, it's not significant relative to the use of the house as a residence. People having offices in their home is just a fact of life these days, everywhere. And I think we would all agree on that.
In all due respect, how do you determine large and small? I mean, is it by a number? Is it by how many hours you work a week?
It really shouldn't matter as long as there's no outward manifestation to the character of the property.
So you can make $100 or $1 million in your house.
To
It doesn't
me,
make a
to be
difference.
honest, I don't think it makes a difference. If I go out and I make a stock transaction, and I make $1 million in a week
God bless.
speculating on stocks, it's still a home, and I'm not having additional traffic coming by and interrupting the natural flow of the residential neighborhood. And frankly, I know it sounds a little unusual, but quite frankly, we had this discussion in our committee. It really doesn't matter what we do, as long as it's a legal activity. It doesn't matter if it's $1 million business or a $100 business, as long as there's no outward manifestation of anything other than a residence.
So then you could strike item B, and you could strike item D.
Well, I'll be honest,
And I.
that's my
I know.
opinion, but I, as a committee, we agreed to compromise. And this was on part of the one from last year, so I agree with you. I don't think it's necessary, but if it'll help get this instead of what we have now, I think it's an improvement. And I was willing to compromise on the committee, I think you'll agree.
Blood,
we are-
sweat, and tears.
This was a hot issue for us, quite frankly, and we spent a lot of time on this.
You know, I could support this article with a couple of amendments, one of which, item A, that we include the word any, as what we've already described, and we strike item I, because to me it's no different than what was presented last year. You know, and last year we had the argument was that no matter any small businesses or any business that we approve in the home, there's always a condition that no clients go to the home.
Right.
And that's always been the case for years. But when we try to put that in writing, we got a lot of opposition last year. And I think that was the main focus of its denial. So those would be my suggestions if we were to move forward with this article.
Did you want to make a comment?
Just a quick one, Marilyn Richards, 342 Pinehurst. So if you eliminated I mean, I think the whole context of what we're reading here is we're talking about something that's small, incidental to the use of a residence. And if it's not apparent outside of the property, then it is what it is. So if you eliminate I and then it says it shall not generate additional pedestrian or vehicular traffic, does that dilute your bylaw enough that, and you don't have everybody come before you, that we could have all sorts of relaxed uses suddenly appear in our residential zones?
No, because I don't think it's going to be any different than what it is today.
Okay.
Those uses are allowed to exist today and operate in the manner in which they've been operating.
Okay.
So, not to pick on attorneys, but if an attorney has a client come over his house to sign a paper, they're there for 20, 30, even 60 minutes. Is it a big deal? Is it any different than having somebody come visit you during the day? I don't think that changes the character of the neighborhood.
I agree, but as one who spoke against this last year at the town meeting, I support I, because as a resident who wants to maintain property values and the integrity of the residential district, I don't want unnecessary traffic inconsistent with the residential district. And I think the traffic is important here.
Is
It
I
doesn't
included?
result-
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It doesn't, last year, I agree, it was defeated because the proposal would not even allow one person to come over. Okay,
And this doesn't allow that either. You
just-
can't, according to this, you can't even walk over to the person's house. In last year's article, what was the wording?
The wording was, I got it right here, patrons, clients, or customers are not permitted in the residence or on the property for business purposes.
So what's the difference? You can't, according to this, you cannot walk or drive over to that business.
I don't define traffic as one car or purpose. Now,
But
if that's
still.
the case, and this will help get it through, can we come up with a qualifier to mention traffic as being more than one car at a time? Then maybe
We had a
that could
similar
work.
situation with the daycare.
Mm-hmm.
People were absolutely against 10 people.
10 kids.
And, you know, we've had 3 and we've had 10. Me personally, I could care less how much traffic goes through my neighborhood. But some people don't like that, and it's understandable. They pay their taxes, I mean.
Under F?
Under I, it's just like Mike says, I mean, you can't have anybody.
Ralph,
That's how I interpret it.
Under F, wouldn't that cover when you say that other outward evidence that the premises are being used for any purpose other than a residential use?
It's not allowed now anyways.
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, if you strike I, wouldn't F still cover that?
I see what you're saying, and I agree with that.
If all of a
there's
sudden you see multiple cars, it's evident that it's being used for something other than just a residence.
other outward evidence, if there are busloads of people pulling up,
UPS showing up every 10 minutes.
strolling into the house, you're gonna think something's going on. I agree with that.
See, now, I would feel comfortable, and this is just me speaking, because C talks about that the occupation, home occupation is clearly incidental and secondary to the residential use. E talks about no external changes made which alters the residential appearance of the dwelling. And F talks about what Ralph was saying, no exterior display, signage, or visible storage, etc., to make it look like it's being used for anything else but a home. I wouldn't have a problem with eliminating I, because I think those areas also address the overall residential look of what we're supposed to be. If we knew that everyone was, we knew that there was a home business going on, and if nobody has to register and the town doesn't know, as a former planning board member, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with lots of potential business creeping up in people's homes that the town doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And because it's a business use. I mean, this is a residential zone. And if we had a greater directory, if you will, of where these home occupations are occurring, then if there was a sudden change, we would know. If there's a change and it's not documented, we don't know what's going on.
Well said.
George, you have anything to add to this discussion?
I've said what I think I need to say here. I would support taking I out if that's a deal breaker, but I really think we need to try to clarify this, because what we have now is inadequate for what's happening in the town. It's just inadequate.
How do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that when what was written in the bylaw was written, there was no internet, okay? It was impossible to do what people do today out of their homes, okay? I mean, in the past, I've had a website design business, which I got a waiver for, okay? Working out of my home. I didn't have a business account, I didn't have a business certificate. I just did website design for people, okay? And all my contact with those people was through the internet. You couldn't have done that 30 years ago, okay? So things are different today. And everybody and his brother has got a business. I mean, if you look at the list of waivers that we've done in this town, okay, I would guess that probably 1 house in 5 in this town has got a business operating out of it in one shape, form, or another.
I'd go more than that, George.
Probably more than that.
My question,
Okay, so the point is that how do you regulate this in a fair and consistent way? And I think that's what we're looking at here. It's difficult to do because you can set up a business, run it for 2 weeks, close it down, and set up a different business. Happens all the time.
Doing the same thing.
Okay, doing the same thing or something different. You can design apps for your smartphone, start selling them, and then move to Boston and open a $1 trillion office if you want to. Starting from your garage. I mean, that's how Microsoft got started. 2 guys in a garage. But I think we need to be able to, as Ned points out, maintain the residential character, okay? Which means that we don't have signs, we don't have traffic, we don't have large amounts of material being stored, in large amounts of deliveries and shipping out of residential areas. That's really what we're after here. there's just so many more occupations you can do today out of your home than you could have 30 years ago. We have to deal with that reality somehow.
Michael, what was your thought on A, as far as you had mentioned a change?
Oh, just that we incorporated the word any business.
It's there already.
Yeah, it's there already, but we were having discussion on changing it back to the original, and
Right.
we're keeping it this way, and I prefer what we proposed. Any business is for the reasons stated.
I personally would feel a lot more comfortable with us bringing this forwards to town meeting if I was eliminated. I think it clarifies a lot. It's a huge step forwards. I think it's a good thing. And I think it's got a good chance of passing if we remove I.
Is that a motion, Mr. Page?
Is that a motion? Oh, no, we gotta read it still, yeah.
Well, an
Actually,
amendment.
Ned had something to say.
One last comment, I was the one on the committee who didn't want I, but I agreed to it because it was more consistent with the previous recommendation. So if you want to eliminate I have absolutely no objection.
And you know what, should this move forward without I, you're welcome to amend it on the floor to include I. But you'll have to defend it.
That was my attempt to compromise it. So I have no problem with that component of it.
Okay, super, thank you for
And
your
I think
support.
you all need to know that we battled this back and forth so much that we went through an exercise. And we each wrote down, or we threw out into the mix, what we thought was an important component to what should be. And what ended up was, most of what we talked about was what was in the bylaw that was turned down at town meeting.
Yeah.
So I think we all understand what we think we need. It's just that, it all depends on how you sell it.
Right. I think that's a problem. We understand it, 'cause we discussed it at length, but when we get in front of town meeting, they perceive it as a power grab. They perceive it as we're trying to infringe more on their personal
Just hit it right on the
rights.
head.
And that's where I have the problem with A, as it exists right now.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, I got a problem with the whole thing, only because of the battle we had last year at town meeting.
Yeah.
I don't think bringing this back in a revised way is gonna pass. That's only my opinion.
Yeah, the biggest, to me, I was the one standing in front of the microphone.
Right, getting beat up.
You're gonna do it again.
Getting beat up in it, but it was. No, I'm not. I learned my lesson. What was the, was
There
the people coming to the house?
There was a couple of things, yeah, there was a couple of things.
But I think that was majority. In fact, the person who presented that scenario was in favor of the article until he heard some of the arguments and realized that he was going to be in violation if he had one person come over and sign papers for 5 minutes.
I'll have to agree with George, it definitely has to be touched. It has to be, worked on. I really feel that when it comes to the town meeting, it's gonna be a battle for whoever presents it.
Ned?
Just one last comment.
Yes.
I mean, we agreed that we would actually help present this to the town. And all I can say is if you see it to the advantage to get this thing passed, I will make a very impassioned plea to support this and make a very cogent argument along with you if we can deal with A. I mean, it's because I think that's the sticking point, the power grab notion. If we can eliminate that, I think there's nobody in town who can argue with what we're trying to do here in terms of maintaining the integrity of the residential district.
When it comes to item A, are you hung up on that word any?
I'm hung up on the privacy issues. I'm not me, but I'm saying, if I'm an attorney who does family law and I have somebody come over contemplating divorce, if I have to go public by registering what I do, somebody sees a car in my driveway, then they know this person may be contemplating divorce. And I could go with oncology and tutoring, and I could go on and on and on.
Yeah.
My point is, as I articulated at our meetings, what goes on in the house really shouldn't be relevant. What goes on outside of the house, absolutely for zoning bylaw, is relevant and should be addressed. And what we proposed is probably more restrictive than the towns around us, because even Long Meadow allows signs and things of that nature, and we agreed that wouldn't be appropriate for East Long Meadow. So it's just, you see I as being the problem, I see A as being the problem. And if the board would see to it that A could be amended the way we did it or eliminate it, I would be more than glad to help support and get this passed, and I am confident it would be passed, because we've taken out the power grab and the issue of interfering, too much interference.
How does A address what's happening right now? Well, you know, people are coming to you with a waiver of site plan.
Yep.
And Robin says that she, you know, this is coming from the clerk's office, that they...
No, anybody, they just call and say they want to move into a place.
So
And if they
so
don't
there's
need it-
something out there that's triggering that people come
Right.
to the town. I mean, I don't want to thwart that, that's the right thing to do, but I don't, you know...
Bylaw states it.
All right,
So...
let's do this. Let's talk about amending the bylaw or proposing the bylaw town meeting. Let's take these one at a time. We'll amend them as necessary so we can get to some finality here.
One basic item.
Yep.
This is section 3.090, not section 3.90, and that needs to be corrected.
Okay. Clerical correction.
3 point what?
Can I see it?
I was trying to figure out where it was, and...
With regards to this bylaw.
Because it only goes up to 3.5.
The language of A.
3.090.
Should we keep it or we want to change it?
I like the word any, and to Ned's point, I could understand that, but honestly, if a person comes before us for consulting
Wait a
services
minute.
to be provided in the house, to me, I don't need to know whether it's marriage counseling
Right.
or whatever,
Right.
Agreed.
All right.
you know? So I would prefer to see the word any, because it includes the businesses that don't necessarily need a business
When you
certificate.
say anywhere, would you like that?
I think...
Right as it's read on this
I
paper.
really think the
Any
privacy
business.
issues are, you know, if you're in a business that requires privacy, it's your business to make sure that you can provide privacy for your clients.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, you know, that's something else. Whether you have them drive into your backyard or into your garage, or meet them someplace else, you know, if you're concerned about privacy, you know how to deal with privacy, let's face it.
Right.
You're a divorce lawyer, you're well acquainted with that.
So
Yeah.
for this discussion, A stays as written. All right. All right, B. Anybody have any problem with B as written?
None.
Fine,
C.
None.
fine,
D.
None.
fine,
E.
fine,
None.
F.
None.
G.
None.
no,
H.
no.
None.
And I.
Yes. Remove.
So it's removed?
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Now, can I get a motion to approve the warrant article as we so discussed with the changes that we have made, basically deleting the letter I from the article?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay.
You have one?
4-1.
Okay.
Your name, Mike?
4-1?
I am.
Yeah,
I vote.
Mike
You
voted
did?
nay, yeah. Okay. Next article. See, this is the medical marijuana one. Do I need to read this one because it wasn't
No.
published? No.
No, basically, I would just suggest that you're stating that the temporary moratorium
Yeah.
is being replaced for the original.
Yeah, what we're doing here is replacing the original article as published with a temporary moratorium on medical marijuana treatment centers that will extend until June 30th, 2014, which is basically a year and a month. Okay, to allow us and the Board of Health to better understand the issues and come up with appropriate zoning for such centers, given that the Attorney General has ruled that we cannot ban them entirely.
Okay. Thoughts? Anybody?
It is what it is. It's the state law, so I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything we could do other than what we're proposing today.
And if we don't pass it, then we're stuck with no zoning for it, and someone can come in and propose
Yeah,
such a facility.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
correct. In any zone.
Okay.
Is June 30th, 2014 the latest date that we can go to? Okay.
As it is today.
For a
yes.
moratorium?
For a moratorium?
And that's designated by the state? Okay.
Yeah.
I personally think it's a good idea. It gives us time, it gives the state time to
Figure it out.
figure everything out. It gives our health department time to analyze what the state says, come up with it, report back to us so that we can make an informed decision in the future.
Did you see the regulations that I
I
sent
did.
you that were proposed?
Yeah, and I
They're
read half
almost
of
a
them.
done deal from the State Board of Health, all 45 pages of.
All right, I'm going to open this up to the public. Anybody have any comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve the warrant article as written?
Make a motion to recommend it?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, that one passes.
We have change. Sorry.
Do we have a
We got one more.
public hearing? Do
We
you
have two
want to
more.
continue on? Or
The last two are
Okay.
synonymous with each other. Let's just get through it and get over with it.
We have a change to section 3.333, limitation on sizes of buildings in business districts. This is basically exactly the same as what we have, but rewritten to make it more clear. Is that correct, Robin?
Take some ambiguity out of the interpretation.
Yeah, take the ambiguity out of it.
What's the difference between?
Basically, it still limits buildings to 65,000
Business
square
districts,
feet,
though,
and it clarifies that you can't put two big buildings next to each other to make it bigger than that, just so you've got a wall between them, so you can say they're different buildings.
Yeah, this came about years ago, was known as the Lowe's bylaw.
Yeah.
So they were rumored to be going in at the Stop and Shop Plaza. We had some opposition to it. You know, some of the big box stores spoke against this. So,
So this basically leaves it the same, but clarifies the wording.
yeah.
And so we can't have a 70,000 square foot Dunkin' Donuts, I'm afraid.
Not yet anyways.
I like the way it was done, and the same thing for the next one, 3.343,
All right, they kinda
which
go
is
with each
exactly the same, but for industrial districts versus business districts.
public?
No, you want to make a comment before we get started? Sandro?
Nope, I'm good.
Mike, we heard your comments?
Yeah.
All right.
Now, did we, was this always a part of the industrial district, the limit of the 6,500? I have no further comments.
Business and industrial.
Okay.
Okay, again, I'm going to open up to the public for the final time. Any discussion? Any comments? All right, I'm going to bring it back to the board. Can I have a motion to approve the warrant article? I'm sorry. Any more discussion?
Nope.
Okay.
I would make a motion to recommend the warrant article for 3.43, limitation on size of buildings in industrial districts, and 3.333, limitation on size of buildings in business districts.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on. All right, we have
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Who's up?
So long. It's been fun.
8 o'clock, public hearing massage therapy for Beauty Time, 16 Maple Street.
Come on up.
Thank you for being patient.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know it's exciting stuff, but
I didn't know the PM, and I heard it this morning.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Sorry. Thank you for your patience. Sorry, we're a little late.
trying to go fast.
Yes, I didn't know where I am.
All right, do we, George, do we have anything to
Yep.
read?
Planning Board, Town of East Long Meadow will hold a public hearing on April 23rd, 2013 at 8 p.m. on the application of special permit for Beauty Times, 16 Maple Street, to perform massage therapy. Then we have the application, and we have all of the information, Robin, on this one?
Yes.
Licenses.
Okay, so we have all of the licenses and so on.
There's a copy of the application for her state,
Right.
right there.
Okay, so that's been applied for, hasn't come through yet, but we expect it to.
Do you want to bring him in?
Do you want me to bring massage therapist in?
Oh, no, I thought you said your son. I'm
No.
sorry, I was just going to say, oh my
so she's-
goodness.
I'm sorry, 16 Maple Street is where?
Across the street.
Next to
Next to
Boston.
Boston.
Oh, okay, yes, okay. Thank you so much.
All right, so we have all the documentation.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any input from anybody else on the board? Anybody got any comments to make?
Hours of operation?
We're not operation now, we still waiting for the permit. And yesterday, John Bristol, she from State Board, and she come inspect, and we okay.
Okay.
We waiting for the town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you do get your license, when do you expect to open in the morning? When do you expect to close at night?
We open 9 o'clock
Yeah.
until 8. Sometimes we have like a group party, we can close at 9 or 10.
Okay.
That's not every day.
And is there one licensed therapist?
Yeah, because like we don't do like massage, like just massage, because some customer they do nail and toe, but they want to get massage.
Yeah.
Just really feel it's not like a lot. That's why we hiring only one massage therapist.
Okay.
It's like appointment only.
Okay. And are your hours Monday through Sunday?
Yes.
Okay.
For convenience for our customer.
Okay, good.
George, anything you want to add?
Looks good.
Sandra?
Fine.
All right, I'm going to open it up to the public. Is there anybody from the public that would like a comment or suggestion? Anybody at all?
I need a massage.
All right, I'm going to bring it back to the board. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any more discussion on this particular?
This is actually a
Massage.
personal care facility then that offers massage now.
Correct.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the special permit for Beauty Times at 16 Maple Street.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
being
We're
patient.
waiting for.
I know.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, our
Thank you
8:15
very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, our 8:15 has been canceled.
Thank
We
God.
ran over.
We have one more?
I have two.
I know, we have one
more
more. I know, I just,
Oh, I know.
Relax.
You don't know about.
no, we're
We
gonna
have
do.
CVS.
We have to do a parking plan for CVS at 217 North Main Street.
That's right here.
I don't know if there's anything to read.
No, it's a change in the parking, attach funded check in the amount of $70 to cover the fee for the parking plan. Review for property at 217 North Main Street. Check will replace another check in the amount of 250% of the application for site plan review, which is going to be returned. And basically, they're moving the handicap spots.
Yeah, from one side of the building to another?
Right.
The
To
side,
a more
the front?
appropriate location.
Okay.
Okay.
You
There's
guys
the
see that on the plan?
handicap.
There's a
Yeah.
handicap.
There's your handicap.
They're being moved over to the side.
They're moving them to the other side.
Closer to the front door.
Closer to
That's
the front
it?
door, correct, that's all they're doing.
Just the two handicaps?
3.
Yes.
Oh, three?
Three.
And they're putting the
All painted
crosswalk
crosswalk
Painted
across
crosswalk.
here?
to North Main Street.
Okay.
And
Is there a bus stop here?
No.
Yes, there is.
Oh, is
Bus
there?
stop.
Okay.
Mm.
Ah, I'm pretty good.
You are
Yeah, I
good.
like that.
That's why it's,
That's why they're doing it.
And they're also adding a striped access for the record to go and coincide with the handicap parking spots.
Awesome.
So they have the same number of spots, the same number of handicap spots.
It's a revision.
And they're
Just-
creating a concrete pad within their property line for the
bus.
bus stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the number of parking spaces doesn't change?
No.
Okay. I like it, I think it's a good plan, and it improves pedestrian traffic within their parking, within their lot lines.
I make a motion to accept,
Approve the parking.
approve the parking plan for CVS parking. As approved.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We sign this.
Mike, you gotta sign
You'll
it?
just sign right there, Michael, I'll stamp over your signature.
You didn't pick up on that.
3 copies?
Lot
Please.
line instead of property.
I
Want me to date it as well?
There's certain things that I just don't say. Very few.
Oh, my ears are ringing now. Someone's talking about me.
He hasn't responded to me.
Okay, let me know if I need to be there.
I'll have to check. He hasn't responded.
There are 8:15 left.
Yeah, that was
No,
canceled.
that was
a lot earlier.
canceled. I do have 2 other things
All right, hold
though
on,
that
let's,
were not on the.
All right, let's make sure we take care of everybody. What's next?
Along with the yogurt shop was a sign application that was missed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, for the new yogurt place?
Yes.
So,
Oreo.
this is Connecticut Signcraft.
Yeah,
How many is that?
actually, all they're doing is,
There's 3 of them.
they have a, I'm sorry,
Okay.
this is what exists,
Okay.
and
You know everything.
they're just
There's a new yogurt place.
putting their
So
logo in it.
they're replacing the white sign company with that. It's exactly the same size and shape as previous.
Do you have anything to read to the record as far as sign application goes?
I don't think we need to read it.
Just the application, but it's just a replacement
It's
of
replacement, so I don't
lettering.
think we need to read the whole thing.
Okay. All right. Everybody have any concerns or comments, questions?
Is it limited?
Excuse me?
Illuminated?
No.
No.
Ralph?
I think
Oh, sorry.
they have like little white placards across all their
Yes,
Yeah,
they
their
do.
sign
Similar
band
to
where
that.
they put in their font. Their white rug had the
Yeah.
black lettering.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
they just put it in there.
So they're just putting that on.
Yeah.
That's what I suspect.
Right,
Yeah,
Kinda
it
that's
is.
that
exactly
shape.
what they're
Exactly.
doing.
Okay, good. And those are all externally illuminated.
Okay.
Not that, make a motion to approve?
Uh,
Do we have one already?
Second,
All those in favor of approving the sign?
Aye.
Aye.
on approval of the building inspector.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Correct.
That's what I was trying to get out.
Okay.
All right, Ron, you said we had one more?
Yes, please. Um,
This is from Will McCarthy. Hello, Robin. I'm not sure if you remember me. We have worked together on several occasions while I lived on Pease Road. We moved from the home in August 2011. At that time, the business was relocated to office space in West Springfield at 117 Park Avenue. The Secretary of State website corporation section documents this online should the need arise. We notified various departments in the East Long Meadow of the move. One example is attached here too as I work through things with Linda in the assessor's office. I don't think we need to have a meeting on my home business question as it is no longer relevant. Please confirm if you need anything else from me. So basically, Mr. McCarthy is withdrawing his waiver.
Special permit
His special permit?
Correct.
His special permit?
for a home-based trade.
right.
Okay, so we issued that special permit?
Yes, we did.
So we need to revoke it at this point?
Yes, we do.
Just cancel it, or?
Yeah, the letter that I
The
just,
I just
Yeah.
was passing it down for everybody to read.
that's what I was going to send to him.
All right, so basically, he's done, he has left town.
Yes,
So now the special permit that was attached to his residence will be no longer?
Exactly.
And therefore, gone from,
So I'll make a motion to revoke the special permit.
Seconded.
all those in favor of revoking the special permit?
Aye.
Okay.
and I spoke with Attorney Donahue with regard to these special permits that you've revoked. There's 3 of them. And I was very concerned because they are recorded. So I prepared a letter to the Registrar of Deeds specifying the exact special permits, their numbers, the recording information, and your orders of revocation, so that order will be recorded as well, so that if someone looks it up,
Because that will come on.
because
Yeah.
the special
For
permit
reference.
is there.
For reference to the public, which 3?
Yes,
Which 3?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know the-
Mitten,
Mitten, McCarthy?
McCarthy, and Neeland.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing else?
That's all.
About the minutes of February 26th.
I have not had a chance to review those.
Okay.
Ralph,
I have.
hold on.
I read them.
Did anybody look at the other minutes? What ones do I have?
February 26th, I have no changes.
February 26th?
Yep. In March 26th, I did not receive.
Actually, I just got March 26th.
When?
A couple
Just
days
got
ago.
it today.
Oh, okay, I
I think
haven't
I
been
got
on my.
How did
first-
she
think I got
get
it yesterday.
changes from you
I
already?
didn't get that.
February 26th, I sent changes in.
Oh, February
March
26th,
26th, I did
March.
not.
March, I didn't
She
get.
just sent them out today?
I didn't see
All
it.
right, so we can.
Okay, I have them on my personal computer, I just haven't been on it.
So February 26th, you're all?
I have no changes.
I have, my changes have already been noted.
Okay, good.
Sandro, February 26th, you're good with?
Good with
George?
26.
Good.
All right, I'll make a motion to,
There you
I'm
go.
sorry, can I get a motion to approve the minutes for
So
February
moved.
26th?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's 3, right?
You
I had a
kinda
half of one, too.
rescinded it, so it doesn't count.
And last but not least, Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You'd sit up there.
I just wanted to talk to the board for a couple minutes. I've been on the board for a full year. I have learned a tremendous amount, more so than sitting in the audience for 5 years. I never realized how much the board actually goes through off camera because I was sitting over there only coming to meetings. I just wanted to touch on a few things. In 2012, we held 21 regular semi-monthly meetings, 13 public hearings reviewing plans and proposals for 6 non-subdivision, 11 special permits, a parking plan, 23 sign approvals, 2 applications for site plan review, 64 requests for waiver of site plan review, and 1 subdivision. I went back a couple years, and then over the 3-year period, we've done 189 waiver of site plans. I think that goes to the home office, especially with the economy. A lot of people, whether they've lost their jobs or whatever, they've started small businesses within their house. And I think that says a lot for the board looking at this, looking at proposing a bylaw change for a home office. I'm in favor of it. I think the last year, like I said, I think we've done a great job. I'd like to commend everyone. I think we've worked really hard this past year, and I just want to keep it going, and hopefully we'll bring a few more zoning changes because we need them.
Yeah, we do need them. There's definitely some things we need to talk about.
And I have 2 more items under reorganization, which I forgot to bring up when we reorganized. First, I am currently your commissioner on the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. With the approval of the board, I would like to continue in that job for at least another year. I'm on the executive committee. I'm the assistant treasurer right now, and I'm having, I think, a positive influence there.
I'll make a motion to keep George on as commissioner.
If I could, I'd like to make that a lifetime appointment.
I would second that motion.
Do we need a motion for that? Or
Yeah, we do. And I'll second that.
Okay.
Motion.
All right, so all those in favor of keeping George where he is for forever?
Aye. Okay, secondly, at the same time, the town needs to appoint an alternate, and that is done by the Board of Selectmen. And I would like to move that the board send a letter to the Board of Selectmen recommending that the alternate to the PVPC be named to be Mr. Ralph Page. The current alternate is Mr. Timothy Seeley, who has, as far as I can tell in my 5 years there, done absolutely nothing. And the advantage of being the alternate, first of all, it's a backup for the primary if I can't get to a meeting. But more importantly, the alternate will also get the minutes and the agendas and so on, and all the invitations to the training and such. And so, since Ralph has shown a great interest in all things planning, I think it could be good for him to be our alternate. At least would have a second line of communication with PVPC and a second pair of eyes on what's going on, because we've got nothing from Mr. Seeley.
Okay.
So
do you have any objections?
No, George.
Do you share George's viewpoints?
I'll make a motion that we make Ralph a lifetime alternate.
We can't do that. We can write a letter to the Board of Selectmen, however, recommending
that he become a lifetime alternate.
I've already made the motion. I think you need a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
One more thing we need to discuss is who's going to present what warrant articles at the town meeting.
Yeah.
That we just kind of break them up amongst ourselves.
I believe the chairman, the new chairman, should take the lead and do them all. Thank you.
As the chairman, I get to delineate who takes what.
There you go.
Yeah?
I'll take the floodplain.
All right, so that gets 1 strike. I get 1 strike back for that, right? All right, let's
take
That was Sandro's.
So you want to take in order of seniority.
Okay.
In order of seniority.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be fair.
Yes, so go ahead,
All right,
Michael.
let's
Which
start
one
with
do
the
you
easy
want?
Hold on.
Let's start with the first one was...
Mike, I want the easiest one. I know where you live.
First one was the fence bylaw.
First one was the fence bylaw. I think, Ralph, I think you have the most
You like
knowledge,
that
so
one, Ralph.
I'm going to give you that one.
What happens to seniority?
If you want it, you can have it.
No.
I just thought I'm trying to give the best bylaw to the best person to present it, in my humble opinion. All right,
Go
so
ahead. You're
I
the
think
chair, I'll
Ralph
let
is
you
the
go.
best person for the fence. If anybody has an objection, speak now.
I still love you, Mike.
I
All right.
object.
All right, number 2 was sporting facility. Any volunteers to represent or speak on that behalf?
Number 2's definitions, correct?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, definitions.
I'm not going to tackle that one.
Okay, I will take that one myself then, since I have no volunteers. All right. Number 3, what was number 3?
Home offices.
Home offices.
I'll take it.
All right, George's got number 3 for the home office. Number 4. Number 4 is the home office. What's number 3?
Trees merit.
Was it FEMA?
I don't know how,
Is it the floodplain?
how are these numbered? How are we taking these? One,
Michael's
two,
I'm
numbering.
sorry, I had my own numbers.
Okay.
All right, maybe I should probably break private home office or studio.
That's George.
George, you want to
Okay.
take that one?
Yeah, floodplain came before that.
Okay, floodplain, I can.
Or Sandra wants to
Sandra.
begin that.
Sandra, you want the floodplain?
Yeah.
Okay. The marijuana one?
I'll take that one.
Okay, good.
Nice, Mike.
Okay. Limitation on size of buildings and business districts and/or industrial districts? All right, I will take that, seeing nobody volunteering.
That's the definition too, pretty much.
Pretty
It
straightforward.
basically is
That's
just
basically
straightening it out.
straightforward,
You'll be fine with that.
All right, and
Mike,
finally,
what do
do we have anything else? Anybody?
Who's taking the definitions, I'm sorry?
Michael.
Okay, good.
Because nobody volunteered.
Okay.
All right, with that being said, do I have a motion to close the planning board meeting for
Move to adjourn.
April 23rd?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.